All right, so that's good to go. Let me just make sure.
Hello, everyone.
This. Hey, how's it going? How are you, Bila? So you were back testing yesterday. How
Yeah,
did that go?
I did pretty good. You know, I did all right. I've been back testing gold a lot recently, just trying to
Nice.
because it's a bit more unfamiliar price action. So I'm really
Yeah.
trying to EU has its habits, GU they all do, but I
Yeah.
think to really be more disciplined and really understand I'm right now I'm really trying to catch on and like really master like liquidity concepts.
Mm-hmm.
And so gold requires you to really take hold of those concepts.
Yeah. I totally agree.
So that's the
Gold
reason
is
why
interesting,
I'm
for sure.
that's the reason why I'm practicing on gold a lot.
Yeah, gold's a fun one. It's I don't trade it, but I've back tested it before. Obviously, I think I've maybe like traded a little bit live, but it's like learning a whole new pair, right? You almost have to like understand the characteristics, as you said, right? This is the reason I don't really trade GU. It's just too different from like AU and EU. AU, I have no problem. I've been like back testing it with Aaron almost every day, and like we love it. But
I have never traded AU before. I have never even
AU is very
attempted it.
similar. It almost correlates to EU. It's very very similar. Maybe
Okay.
the only difference is like it tends to chain a lot more,
It's
which is
cleaner.
really nice. Yeah,
Yeah, like
it
once I
is
kind of
cleaner.
made
Yeah.
the transition to focusing entirely on like supply and demand breaks, and
Mm-hmm.
then I only use like specific points for like swing point structure breaks and like chalk breaks or like late point breaks or like double bosses. Like once I like filtered out how often I put like my breaker structures in the market and I focused entirely on like supply and demand breaks, I think combining them both is way better than just using one or the other.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's what we'll go over in this call too, right? Like we always do when we're doing kind of like the higher time frame stuff. The main thing we're always looking at, remember, is liquidity and structure, right? I like to
Yep.
say like I like liquidity like 51% versus uh, structure because like things sweep, right? Like
Oh
this week
yeah.
was a good example of that. Like things swept and violated structure, but if you paid attention to what liquidity was doing and you played those sweeps properly, there were opportunities to short, right, on EU, like
Yeah.
intraday, right? So
Like I've been. It's funny you said that. Like I've been recently. I switched my bias to market structure, liquidity, and then my supply and demand.
yeah,
Because it seems to me that I don't even call them POIs anymore. I call them just liquidity POIs. Like if there's no money involved, I don't even pay any attention. The only exception to that rule is like a flip. But generally speaking, I started using the same concepts towards like flips because
hmm
generally they'll have like an inducement potential right above them or beneath them. Those seem to be the best flips that are consistent. Things like that.
yeah, liquidity is and flips obviously are super important. But yeah, let's get started. So I'm obviously starting here on the monthly chart. I don't actually have a monthly thing, so I'm gonna quickly make one because I don't really mark out the monthly. I look at it once in a while, maybe once a month, but I'm gonna be pretty what's the word for it? I'm gonna try and like mark this out very clearly for everybody so that we understand what's happening, right? So monthly is very clearly bearish in the sense that swing structure is moving in a bearish faction. I mean, it's been doing that since 2014, right? This is partly why I don't really like to mark out monthlies because it's gonna take a quarter for it to potentially like move up to this level, right? Or maybe a few months, right? Um, Whatever, we can look at it. It's fine. I'll mark it out. But generally, I don't like marking these out because I don't have them configured in a way that like it's only visible on that time frame. You can do it that way. That's fine. But I just delete it because I don't want my charts to be super messy, right? So there's monthly. Let's take a look at weekly. Weekly, I'd say, is pretty bullish. It looks like we're taking out a lot of internal range liquidity here. This is a pretty common concept we always talk about where usually if one swing point goes in this type of price action, you can expect multiple ones to get run, right? So they're almost like fuel for like the move, right? And in this case, I mean, you can see price action was really corrective over the last couple of years, right? Again, this is the weekly chart, so we're talking about a pretty long period of time, right? Where price was kind of falling. It's not super impulsive. It's very corrective as it descends down. And then look, we have this huge bullish momentum as price taps into this monthly and weekly level of demand right here, right? So I really want you guys to just like take a minute to look at what's going on here and like digest really the higher time frame, right? Again, it's not, I don't want to say it's like super relevant to like what we're looking at more intraday, but like it's good to understand what's happening so that say we do come into this zone up here, right? And we potentially want to look for shorts, right? We don't want to keep on longing, or if we get some sort of flip or whatever, we can take continuations long, right? So it's all about reacting to what price does as it unfolds, right? So there's our weekly. Daily, as you guys know, like I don't really mark out my structure points on it. I usually just eyeball it. But if I were looking at this just from like a swing perspective, it looks pretty bullish. Now this little section of price action here, basically this is summer of 2020, right? So pretty early into like COVID days, I'd say. Obviously COVID hit in March of last year, right? 2020. So I mean, I don't know if that's necessarily what affected it, but it's pretty rangy, right? It's also the summertime, right? Well, it's really just these 2 months, right? July, August, I would say, even June. It's pretty. Well, actually, June was pretty volatile too. Actually, now that I look at it, right? Anyways, July and August, as we know, are pretty rangy months, right? Just like what we back tested last time. But then look, it even ranged all the way up until December, right? And this is from the daily time frame. So as much as like we are ranging here, it doesn't mean that there isn't moves that we can catch intraday or even on the 4 hour, right? If we were to swing trade it, you could take longs here or whatever after the sweep. You can play the edges of it. There's definitely opportunities within this to take continuations long if you're trading like October, November, right? But now obviously coming into December, remember we're always trying to play like impulsive corrective type price action, right? So, and again, like price never moves in the most perfect way either. So again, we react to it, right? In terms of our trading range that we're in, it's like I said, it's pretty much this, right? So it's kind of a retail strategy that I'm talking about here, but it still applies, right? Price is obviously trading within this. In terms of structure, like I said, I would overall say that it's bullish just based on the fact that it's coming from a bullish impulsive leg. We're kind of corrected. Maybe we can expect some sort of a pullback, or maybe price will just continue up, right? So not really going to mark out too much. I mean, we can mark out this structure break here if anything, but I don't bother marking out the swing points, right? Because I don't want to have too many biases. Same with the weekly and monthly. I don't mark out the swing points. I'll mark out zones. That's it. Zones that look good. Zones that I would mark out if like, say I'm on the weekly and I'm almost treating this like a 15-minute chart, right? Where would you mark out? I'd probably mark out this, though again, it's like unlikely price is going to come down to this. I definitely mark out, this, which I actually forgot to mark when we were on weekly earlier, right? Because look, these are like pretty valid zones that we want to pay attention to if price treks into this area, right? Like it's stuff you should be aware of, right? But again, I don't want to mark out my structure points because then if I have 6 different biases, it's just too much for me personally. Maybe some of you can do it and you can handle that much information in your head, but for me it starts to cause problems if it's any more than like 2 or 3 time frames, right? And the fact that we're not even trading on the 1 minute, I kind of treat the 1 minute as a different thing because we're trying to take our relative higher time frame biases and then like apply it to that, right? And catch like a tighter entry, right? So again, that's why we're practicing the 15-minute. It's something that's usually accessible for everybody. In the future, we'll do maybe like, I don't know, March or May or something. We'll have to figure out how far you guys can go back with like even like the lowest plan of TradingView, and hopefully you can back test it on the 15-minute because I want to give you guys the opportunity to like practice it and then kind of compare it to what I'm doing here, right? So that was the whole purpose of this call. Maybe we'll continue to do that for the future because I think it's a good way to learn, right? I'm not the perfect trader or anything. I'm obviously like I make mistakes and stuff, right? But it's good to sort of bounce what you guys have done up against what I'm doing, and we'll see what we can learn from it as a group, right? I don't ever like look at myself as like above you guys or whatever. I'm literally learning with you guys, right? And it's always going to be like that. We're all learning. There's no ego involved, right? The minute you have ego involved, like I'm probably going to stop learning, right? So that's why I try to like keep humble about it. So let's go to daily again. We'll mark out zones again, like I was saying, right? There are a couple zones I'm kind of interested in. Again, we're not marking out structure points, but what I can look at is, you know, certain things like this where, okay, we are in a daily level of supply here, so we can potentially anticipate some sort of a pullback, right? So I'll mark it out as daily. For daily, I'll leave these on, and I guess even monthly. We'll see if it gets too messy. I'll delete some of these drawings, but we have a daily zone here. We have a daily level of demand here that I'm definitely interested in. Now for this, I'm going to mark out the body and the wick because I just want something, you know, to get triggered. I'm not necessarily going to mark out this entire thing here, right? Yeah. Because it's just kind of messy. And I agree with Miguel here too. Let's mark out this huge wick here too, right? And why are we marking this out? It's always the same thing, guys. Remember, I'm looking for something that sweeps liquidity, number one, right? These both sweep liquidity. It's pretty evident. And number two, I want to see it overrun something on the other side, right? So if I'm marking out a demand, I want to see a supply fail. If I'm marking out supply, I want to see some sort of demand fail. That's like the most basic criteria, right? And then we can go into like weak and low highs, that kind of thing. But yeah, I mean for this, oh shit, what happened? I think I accidentally hit like the button on my mouse. Let me go back here. So let's play through a little bit back to December 1st. All right. Sorry, I'm going to cut it back a little bit. Trying not to cheat here, because I honestly haven't like practiced this or anything. Yeah. I kind of saw what happened, but so okay, we have these few levels, right, that we can kind of pay attention to. Even this like is not bad, but again, I don't overcrowd my charts or whatever. If price does come into this, like great. Thing is, it looks like it's kind of a level of demand that chained, right? You can see price came in, it tapped into this. It didn't come into the 50% of it, so it's possible that it could come lower, right? But I mean, who knows, right? So that's how I'd mark out my daily. Again, not marking out structural points. There's no point for me. I just have a rough idea. Okay, it's bullish. Great. Now let's take a look at the 4 hour, which is very clearly bullish as well, right? This is where we can start marking out our structure. I'm gonna just do it for the start, and then for the rest of the call, in the in the interest of like keeping the pace of the call, I'm not gonna continue to mark out the structure points unless you guys really want me to. I usually just eyeball it anyways when it comes to like back testing it, because otherwise it just takes way too long, right? If you guys want to, I mean, I guess if you're a little newer, there's definitely value in doing that, but because it lets you practice your structure, right? But yeah, for this, I'll just do the initial thing so we get a little bit of structure practice in, and then we're just going to kind of eyeball, levels that we want to play, right? And I'll be marking out any 15-minute zone that I want to enter with my Fibonacci tool, right? So when you guys see that, it means like the limit order is set, the trade is hot, right? So okay, so 4 hour, right? 4 hour, we have this zone. Like right away, I'm just going to mark out zones that look like good to me. We can kind of refine what's in the daily as well, right? So any of these daily zones, if I see certain things like this, look, it's the same thing. It's the wick that, again, swept out all this liquidity that was sitting here, right? It's almost like higher definition of the daily, right? And then same with these levels down here. I'd definitely be interested in this last sell to buy candle here. And again, why am I marking out the whole candle versus just the wick? You could do the wick, but I just try to think to myself, okay, if I were going to set an alert here, I'd rather have my POI a little bit wider, so that I'm aware that, okay, we're tapping into it, and then we can, sort of like start to pay attention to that, right? And give it our attention. And then Miguel wants to mark out this one. I agree, it's pretty good. So again, even though we have this daily that got mitigated, right? I'm going to delete this because, again, it's a little messy. There is a nice 4 hour zone here, right? Why are we marking that out and not the extreme? Because the extreme has been mitigated here, right? And in this case, I'm marking out the engulfed candle that's been tapped into, right? You can see it's very clear we've marked out the 50%, or we've mitigated the 50% of that. Does it mean it'll hold? Like, no, there's no guarantee of that, but, and of course price doesn't even need to necessarily come back down to this, right? Not now, maybe it will in the future. I can't remember if this is what we're tapping into now in live price action now that it's a year later, but I'm pretty sure, I mean, it might be, I don't remember. I kind of just eyeball, I don't really pay attention to the dates. I'm looking more so at like what we're even tapping into in terms of price action, right? So that's good for 4 hour. Let's mark out our structure points. If you guys want, I'll let you guys do your annotation and kind of mark out what you think is structure, and then yeah. So if you guys want to do that, feel free. Please try not to make it too messy, but I'm gonna start back here, okay? I'll start even from this level, so we get a little bit of trend change practice. So here to here is a swing point for me, right? Expecting the high to go, the low breaks, right? Trying to see, is there any significant pullbacks here? So, okay, we break this and then I look behind, right? For me, and I know for some of you guys, you're gonna say, okay, I'm gonna continue to look at this as my swing point high. For me, it's gonna be this one, right? Like Shane marked out, that's good. And this is gonna be my low here, right? So again, I'm gonna consolidate all of this. You could, in theory, say that this is a swing point too, right? Because look, we did have like a pretty sizable pullback, and not only that, it actually swept this, right? So I'm almost tempted to say that it would be like this, right? And then we're expecting this low to go. It ends up wicking it. Before it wicks it though, we actually break this high, right? So I'm gonna call it that. Again, if you want to consolidate it and be even more loose about it, there's nothing wrong with that. But the way that I like to look at it is like this, right? So as long as it's like 3-4 candles, maybe 5, it sweeps something, I'm gonna count it. Okay, great. Then we break this. Price pushes up. Does it close above? Yes, it does, right? So then we have this. Price then sweeps this low, doesn't close below it. So this is not a break to me. We're still stuck within this range until we break up higher, right? When we break up higher, we take this high out, then I look back. Okay, that defines this wick low for me, right? So this is now my swing point, right? Or my my trading range. Until we get to here, this does not sweep anything, so I'm gonna say this is all one leg, right? Pushing up. Okay, good. Ara, you got it. That's perfect. Price then pushes down. We're now stuck within this range, expecting bullish price action, right? And again, even though we're bullish and this is our trading range, we don't necessarily have to play this. You can see that it lines up with what we've marked out, right? Obviously, but it doesn't mean that we can't play anything that's like sort of decisional within the leg either, right? So price ends up pulling back to about the 50% of this. It doesn't look like it quite taps into anything. It's fine. It sweeps liquidity. It continues to push up, and then we get our break here, right? And then again, if we're looking at our swing points, right, it'd be like this, and we break here. What am I going to pick as my previous swing point? Either it's going to be this or this, right? For me, I'm going to say, let's do this. Let's consolidate this entire thing, right? And we'll just look at it as this. Because again, what's the logic behind it? I always say this to you guys. If price has to pull back to one of these points, where would I be comfortable throwing a position on without waiting for a chalk on the 4 hour? I'd say this is the last point that I would be willing to do it. This, I would be looking for a change of character because we're taking out way too many levels of demand to try and mitigate something. I would not feel comfortable just leaving a limit on this, right? Almost treat it like the 15 minute or the 1 minute. Like, would you leave a 1 minute limit here, or are you going to wait for a chalk? You're definitely going to wait for a chalk, right? Even with these, I mean, you would wait for a chalk regardless on a lot of these, right? But I'm just saying, imagine we imagine this is like just a 1 minute chart. There's certain levels where I'd be happy to leave a limit on, and certain ones I wouldn't. I'd be waiting, right? So yeah, let me clear everybody's drawings really quick, and let's go on to the 15 minute. So yeah, okay, November, good. Okay, so I just want to make sure we're lined up with the price action a little bit. Now, I think there is also this level we can maybe pay attention to, but here's the thing, this is not the best level. I'm gonna more so mark this out to see if price does react to it, but I wouldn't necessarily like try to trade off of it because it's like, it's a whatever level, it doesn't really sweep anything. It might be one of those, scenarios where price obviously is pretty bullish, right? Where it's kind of making these small corrective pullbacks, but sometimes you'll see price kind of do something like this and just continue up, right? Yeah. Where just it doesn't have, like, it doesn't want to come back lower, right? It just, there's too much momentum behind it. Too many buyers pushing it up, whatever, But yeah, let's take a look at 15 minute. We can kind of look here a little bit intraday now and see, we're obviously in, I think, Asia session here, or like spread hours almost, right? But it's very clear to me that like we are in a pullback within, the 4 hour, and 15 minute as a result is bearish, right? So let's mark out our 15 minute swing structure really quick. And then from there, again, we're going to just eyeball it in the interest of time so that, we're not spending the entire call just marking out structure because it does take a while. Now the thing is, within the live market, I like fully expect that you guys mark it out because it's like you have literally hours to do it, right? It doesn't take that long. Maybe you're slow at the start if you're like new to it, whatever, that's fine. You know, it takes time to build the skills up for sure, right? But for me, this is going to be my swing structure. This pulls back enough, I want to say, so I'd be happy to say that this is good. We break this low, right? This is our current trading range. This is a nice pullback, and there you go. There's our trading range right now, right? So what am I expecting? I'm expecting that price is probably going to pull back, but we also have to be aware of the fact that we're potentially tapping into this. It might hold, right? Now, this is not the best level. You have equals sitting here, exactly. We also have trendline liquidity that's sitting here, right? So a lot of stuff we kind of want to be aware of. I don't necessarily want to enter right away. Is there a chance that this could hold? Of course there is, right? But you know, it's whatever. I'll mark this out. Let's see if this holds, and then maybe if we get a chalk, we can start to look for longs. But again, if we look at this in context of what the 4 hour is doing, right? We know that, again, we're in this pullback, and it could be one of those scenarios where we're just tapping into, you know, one of these like nondescript. Like this is a flip zone to be fair too, right? But it doesn't really sweep anything. So, I mean, who knows
if I can add, sorry to interrupt.
Yeah,
if I can add, on the daily we have a sell to buy here. It's very minor, but it's here.
Oh yeah, that's right.
I think.
That's a good
this one there.
Yeah. So these are like, this is the type of PA, like, obviously, again, it's good to be aware of it. I won't necessarily mark it up because for me, I don't want my charts to be super messy. It confuses me, right? And I'm sure it does for some of you too, but it's good that you pointed that out, because if we have a daily, it is a flip zone too, right? Look, because it reacted to this level of supply, right? Our daily wick, and then price pushed up. Now this has not failed yet though, right? So if anything, we want to wait till that fails to try and play something like that, but let's observe, right? I think you guys get why I don't like to look at the weekly as much, right? Or at least mark it up. It just, imagine you're now combining this bias to it. It's too much, right? So,
yeah.
But I'm not saying don't look at it. Do look at it. Understand it, right? Understand what it's doing at least, right? But just don't let it over influence your intraday, like your entries, right? Because I know from experience, I've done it, and it messes my trading up. And I know a lot of people, like, who have coached and people I've talked to within the community, they do it and it just confuses them, right? So there's a time and place for it. Again, it's to understand. It's more so to understand if we're in a zone that we want to be like careful of, right? So let's go to the 15-minute. Let's start playing price forward, and we'll actually get started here. There's our little analysis, right? Let's see. See if we get our chalk. You could argue this is a chalk already, but I'm going to wait a little bit until this level of supply fills first to even like consider looking for longs, right? Okay, totally overran it. It looks like we're starting to maybe react to this. Whether this is going to be a pullback, we don't know. Remember, it's Asia session. I'm not going to put any limit to what we're going to like trade in terms of sessions, because it's the 15-minute. You can leave limits pretty much at any time, right? Somebody's marking this out. I don't think I'd necessarily look at this. This doesn't really stand out to me. But yeah, if we're looking to, again, play this pullback, remember, we are pro 15-minute structure if we try to short, right? We just have to be aware of the fact that 4 hours is very bullish. And same with daily, right? So again, I'm not gonna necessarily say that I would short this. It's not a bad zone though. I mean, we could, but I'm gonna wait a little bit before we, try and like set a limit on something like that, right? We can wait for a chalk on that. That's fine. So there are certain situations, right, where even with this, right, the reason I would look for a chalk on it is because, I mean, it is the extreme or whatever, but sometimes you get the situation where price will wick it out a bit, right?
Yeah.
Or sweep it. So even though it's within our swing structure, and I always say, our swing structure kind of defines like our rules in a sense. There are certain situations like this where it's like, I kind of want to be a little bit careful and just see what happens first, let it play out, right? So it looks like, I mean, this is really weird because it's in a very tight range here at the top. There you go. Look, it swept it, right? So now our swing structure is actually changed, right, to bullish, right? So if I were going to mark it out, right, be here to here to here to here. Well, there you go. I agree. This is a probably good place to start looking for potential longs. We just got to be careful. We might get used as liquidity. If anything, if we don't want to throw a limit on that right away, we can wait. And we can wait for, we can basically play the reaction, wait for a chalk again. or we could throw a limit on one of these two, right? So I say personally I would rather do it on this one because I mean they're both flips or whatever.
Yeah,
right?
same.
But
The one
play it
the
safe.
one here doesn't have inducement, so
yeah, I mean
Most
it
likely
sweeps.
will be used, I
It sweeps liquidity. It's just like
yeah.
gotta be a little careful. And there's a lot of momentum behind it too. But look how much momentum there was to the downside too, right? So let's see. Let's see what happens. Now, the thing is, when it starts pushing up like this, then I want to potentially start looking at maybe playing this, right? Because
Yeah.
we're starting to make new structure. Like it makes this less likely to get tapped into, right? So, and again, yeah, we're building liquidity exactly. So,
Yeah.
sure you can play that. This is not a flip zone or whatever, right? It's not even really reacting to anything. It might be that window of imbalance thing that we don't really talk about. It's a secret thing, you know?
As I see it, it's the buy to sell range here. You know.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a good way to look at it. We can always look at it
Yeah.
as like previous structure too, right?
Yeah.
Definitely.
I don't like to
tapping
think
into-
about imbalance. Doesn't make sense in my head. But
So it's funny because I don't really think about imbalance in like the traditional sense. I'm not looking at like
Yeah.
stuff like this, but there are certain cases where I'll use it where it's like, okay, if there's multiple candles here and there's wicks, I'm gonna like sort of mark it out like that, like even like this maybe as my zone, more for a POI, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm usually looking for things that have like impulsive price action, which, you know, by the nature of it it has imbalance in it, right? So.
yes.
Okay, so that's fine. We got
Okay.
missed on that one. That's fine. I think this was a fantastic area to try and enter.
Yeah.
It's cool. I'm going to take this off now because I don't necessarily want to play that. But there you go. As Miguel said, this guy reads my mind, man. I swear. Yeah, every time. This is obviously good because, look, we swept liquidity. We violated a level of supply here. Now, it's weird because it actually wicked it out prior, right? But I would still say that's a reaction, right? We had a reaction. We swept liquidity. Let's see if we come and tap into that. No.
Too bullish.
There's just way too much momentum, right?
Yeah.
Now there was this, but would I have played this? No. No, I wouldn't.
No.
Maybe on the 1 minute, but even then, didn't sweep anything, right? I'd rather like wait, right?
Clearly.
Look, we're only a day in. Remember, it's December 1st. Let's wait a little bit, right? And this is a Tuesday too, so let's quickly hop on the 4 hour and see what's happening. We do want to be aware of like if we're tapping into anything to the left as well, right? It looks like there is a 4 hour zone here. I'm basically looking at this to see if there are some sort of like catalyst for like a pullback that, you know, either we can short it. I don't really want to short something this bullish, but we can look for it as a catalyst for the pullback to then play into our long, right? So I won't necessarily mark it out, but like, you know, let's be aware, okay, we're tapping into some stuff that's kind of in this really like bearish impulsive leg, right?
Like I will look at it when we turn bearish on that 15 hour.
Yeah,
Else
exactly.
you just
And you can look at it in
mark up.
Rob,
hindsight.
can you hear me?
Yeah, I can
Rob?
hear you, Shane. What's up?
Can you hear me, pal? All right, sound. I didn't know if my mic had packed in or what.
You might have been muted, eh?
Started, mate. I didn't know. Yeah, I've just been messing around with it there for ages. At least you can hear me, mate. Now I know. I was about to throw a headset in Ben. I was about to just stamp on it and chuck it in bin.
Hey, that reminds me. When are you gonna make T-shirts, man?
Shane, you're making t-shirts?
Yeah, he needs to make T-shirts. I need to hear it. So does Phantom, both of y'all.
I think Phantom has we have like elite t-shirts or something. Well, I don't know. I think we had merch at some point, but I don't know what happened to that. I'll mention it to the guys.
I've been waiting patiently.
So look, I'm marking out these zones again, not to necessarily enter it. I know I said if I put it on, it's hot, but like, I just want to see if we're gonna react to it first, right? I'll tell you guys if we're actually gonna enter. I'll throw an order template on, right? This looks decent. Again, I'm being pretty like conservative here. Okay, it looks like London tapped into that. That would have been a pretty good trade, but I didn't throw anything on it, right? Okay, this is where I'm potentially going to look to actually throw a limit on, because there you go. It's you know, I said it was going to be a good trade. It probably would have been a good intraday London play, right? But again, if we're going to just play 15-minute zones, remember what I'm looking for, right? At minimum, I want to see at least like the next 15-minute zone get overrun, and I'm going to consider it valid, right? And at minimum, I want 5R too, right? That's kind of like always been the rule for me. If I can get like pull 5R out of a trade, potentially, then like, okay, it's worth like the risk, right?
Yeah.
So let's see, we'll throw a limit on this one. I don't know whether it's going to fail or not. I have no clue. We're going to give it some room. And we'll let it. I'm going to go with the 25% here, just to give it some room. I want to cover this a little bit, right? Because I don't know if price is going to come tap into that either.
Yeah.
Let's see. Okay, we're getting a reaction.
Yeah.
It's kind of slow. Looks kind of weak. Oh.
Okay.
Still
Okay, we're
in?
still in. So what do I want to target at minimum, right? This.
Yeah, and just
would I-
want to know.
Yeah.
Yeah, how do you break even on this?
Here. Right here. It's a
Okay.
good question.
Yes,
I
I
was
just want to
gonna
know.
mention. Yeah. So it's usually the catalyst for the pullback, right? So
Yes.
wherever, price initially like whatever taps us in, it pops in whatever. Or sorry, actually it would technically be
Here, I would
higher.
break even here.
Yeah, I was gonna say probably higher.
But-
I usually get kind of confused with it because I usually do it on the 1 minute.
It-
I don't
it
know
made-
what's
Yeah,
the-
and
This
it
was
makes
the
sense
point.
to break even here because
Yeah,
we could retest that.
Yeah, so here's the thing. On the 1 minute, it would probably be here, right? But on
Yeah.
the 15 minute, yeah, I would say here, right? Because again, it's the catalyst for the pullback. You have price kind of, reacting or like we're like pushing off of this, right? Then we get tapped in, and then we're looking behind, right? It's almost like we're looking at swing structure in a way. Where would I put my
Yeah.
previous like high, right? Maybe it's
And
not exactly like this because we're not breaking anything, but yeah, I would say here.
Yes.
And
if
even
I
for
can
this,
add,
I would hold this actually because we're pro trend. So like, and on top of that, it's 5R minimum, right? So whether we want to like hard TP at that level or just go break even and see what happens next.
You already break even.
Yeah. So now we're
And
break
you-
even, right?
Would target 4 hours swing.
Yeah. So up here, right?
Yeah.
I totally agree, Miguel. And what can we pull out of that? 13.95R. That's pretty good. Let's round it up to 14. Might as well, right?
Random question.
Scalium here.
How often do you have the simulator?
Soft for FX?
Yeah. I couldn't think of the freaking name of the thing.
What about it?
How do we get access to that?
You can buy it. I think there's a discount code that we offer too. We like
Okay,
distribute that.
Buy it MT4, innit?
Yeah,
Like,
you can
would
take code.
the reason why I was asking is, would you prefer the soft effects over just back testing? Like, that's what I normally do is back test. I was just trying to hear.
I honestly I do both. Like every
Okay.
week.
Oh, okay. Both. Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
So one thing I want to mention here, guys, is we actually did not enter at the correct place for this, right? It's not that this wasn't valid. It just clearly like it swept this, right? And there's a reason
Yeah.
like I said, right?
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
Protect the other.
I covered it just in case, right? Because I don't know like if it's gonna come and tap into this. Ideally, what we probably should have done, and
it's
we
covered
did-
a low.
Yeah, it covered the
Created
low.
equals there, didn't it?
It had
Created
equals.
equals.
To be
Straight
fair,
over.
like we were playing the decisional. If you'd taken an L on this and threw another limit on this, that's fair too, right? Remember, you gotta
Yeah,
attack it
clearly.
twice. Not a big deal. I'll leave that on, whatever. It's just something to note. Whether we would have got tapped out by spread, actually, I don't think we would have. We might have been okay. It's EU, right? During like
Yeah.
New York session, like you'd probably be fine. But whatever, that's fine. I had a pretty like tight stop, anyways, considering it's the 15-minute. We could have rounded up to like 8, right? So let's do that. Usually I try to make it whatever round number. I round up because of situations like this, right? You just want to be kind of careful of it. So let's move this up a little bit and see if we can hit our 14-hour target. Again, we're going to target like the low of this 4-hour that we marked out prior. And exactly, Miguel, we can start looking for,
Scalium.
yeah, like scale-ins now, right? Because we're break even on the first
We
one.
already break even.
Yeah, we're break even. I'll mark this out as our like little failure point, right? I love this. This is like the most used tool in trading you
Yeah.
is this, right? I'm always looking for it. Why? I want to see a reaction, an initial reaction. I want to see a sweep. Okay, let's see if price comes back into that, right? I'll just do the entire candle, including these wicks, because we don't know, right?
What'd you say was the most useful thing?
Me marking out levels that
the
fail.
rectangle.
Yeah.
Oh, like
Our
structuring the
fixing.
macro. Oh, okay,
Yeah.
like breaks and stuff. Okay, gotcha.
Good tip.
I don't always mark it out, but the thing is, like, you guys should, right? Because
Yeah.
It's to understand the logic behind why, why are we even creating liquidity and sweeping? Like, it's not happening for no reason, right? It's because there's selling pressure here, right? So let's see if we take this high out, then I'll look to maybe play like the more recent structure. We'll chase it a bit, but remember, as of right now, this is liquidity, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
So just to illustrate this point, I'm not going to mark out every single one, but look, same thing, right? Are we not having reactions off of this newly formed level of supply? Yeah, we are, right?
Yep.
What is it? It's probably the catalyst for a pullback. Okay, now we've broken up higher. Now we can start looking at this, right? Knowing that we could get swept as liquidity. So let's say that this one's hot. My trading view is kind of laggy, I guess, because I'm like recording and sharing this to you guys in like 4K at the same time.
Yeah,
I don't
that's
know why
okay.
my computer can't handle it, but I'm not going to copy the order template. Just know this is hot too, okay? I'm leaving a limit on both of these. And exactly, we have liquidity here, right? We even swept here, right? So let's see. We're in Asia session. Let's see if we actually pull back or not. Even if we don't, right? We're still within, our first position here, right? We're already like 14R. It's pretty good. Okay, we're pulling back. We have Asia liquidity here. I wonder if we're gonna tap into this one. It's possible, right? I'm still gonna wait. I'd rather play the lower one, get a better fill.
Yeah.
If it doesn't tap me in, I don't care, right? Okay, great. We hit our profit
react-
target on this one, right? What's that? Yeah, no, this one doesn't tap it. I don't think.
Yeah, I wonder where.
Oh, you want to throw? You want to throw a
Where
lower?
it
Yeah. I'm saying,
I don't
why
know where
we
it
play
taps.
this little one here.
Yeah, fair enough. Yeah, I don't know. I guess I would play this. It's just now we're kind of chasing it a little bit too, right? So let's see if price pulls back to that or not. At this point, I would remove these limits though.
I know it's a bit late, yeah, but
Yeah. It looks like there's just so much momentum behind this. The thing is, I try to look at, like, I wouldn't necessarily play this, but like we can see we're starting to chain off of this a little bit, right? I'm actually going to include this. I'd rather play something like this when I see this much momentum. You know what I mean? If we were more corrective, sure, then I'd be like, okay, this is probably going to be liquidity for this. Shane, you could be absolutely right, by the way. Like, there is liquidity under all of these. You could get swept too, right? We don't know what's going to happen. If anything, what we can do, remember, if we're looking at this as like structure too, right? This would be our new swing structure. So for your Shane, I'd probably wait and try to play like a chalk off of it, right? I wouldn't necessarily leave a limit straight on that.
yeah.
But look, we're gonna put this as one valid. Our net R right now is 14 because we've closed out on this, right? We're just gonna do hard TPs, otherwise it's gonna be too complicated to do like partials and calculate that.
Yeah.
But let's see, we have another flip zone here even, right? And another level of supply that's obviously failed here, right? That clearly created the reaction. Probably did it on like the 5 minute or something, right? So there's our initial reaction. You can see we swept it here, right? Let's quickly take a peek at the 4 hour, see what's going on. Wow, we're bullish. You guys want to short?
Fairly.
We were really bullish. Look at that. Actually, did we tap into the weekly? I don't even know. We should probably. I don't want to like cheat and see what happens, but I think that's what this zone is, right?
Yes, I think.
So should we have targeted this, Miguel? Probably, eh?
Yeah, probably.
it's too late though. I'm not doing it. Let's see if we can catch another one then. Okay. So let's wait. If anything, do you guys want to throw a limit on this one, or do we want to play the reaction and the chalk?
I don't know, but I like this one since we build equal lows.
Yeah, liquidity.
Just about.
Yeah, that's fair. All right, let's see if we get swept or not. Again, we can't have fear about it, right? If we feel like it's valid, let's throw it on.
Oh, we could play a reaction too.
No, we didn't tap that.
No, we didn't tap into it.
How do you get the short and long position to disappear like that? That shit is so dope.
What do you mean?
Like, I don't know. It's like your short and long disappears like magic.
It does?
Is there like a shortcut or something to it?
I have a shortcut for this and this on my mouse, but no, I don't have a shortcut. I was just copying and pasting this or deleting it.
Oh,
Yeah,
damn!
just
I
hitting the delete
completely
key.
forgot that you could do that.
All right, let's see. Oh man, it's probably not even gonna tap in, is it? Is this tap in? Yep. So there's certain things like this. Remember, I don't know if we're gonna have time to do it, but I do want to try and do some sort of hindsight with this afterward as well, and just see, okay, what did work and why did it work? Let's reverse engineer it. Okay, it looks like it actually swept it.
Yeah.
So let's leave this limit on and see if we actually get tagged in or not. Because we had a level of supply here fail too, right? So
Is this an equal low or this was swept also here?
which one?
This one.
I think
no,
it's
gotten swept.
swept.
now, yeah. Sorry, let me delete this.
maybe at this point I will
Yeah.
not hit that. I don't know.
I wouldn't be looking for shorts yet necessarily. I want to see like a proper. I mean, we did get a chalk, but I'd probably want to wait for a 4-hour chalk to really try and like play shorts here. If I'm being honest.
Yeah.
So if anything, this one seems like the best play to me at the moment. Okay, yeah, we swept, but there's still liquidity sitting here probably too, right?
Yeah,
So-
clearly.
Let's see what happens. If we get swept on this, it's fine, right? Okay, we got swept out. I think it tapped into yours, Shane. But let's wait. We'll
Yeah.
play the reaction on this one. Was it this one that you wanted to do, or is it this lower one?
No, there's a one below.
Oh, this
yeah,
one,
yeah.
That's fine. We took an L.
It's gone.
No
It's
problem.
got. It's took off by then, like, innit?
Rob, even though we're like pretty much right at the weekly range and then coming up to the 4-hour range, would you still be taking like longs even from here?
I would. Now, the only thing to note is obviously like price is rounding off now, eh? That's pretty
Yeah.
clear, right?
Yeah, we've reached that like weekly level. So even though we're this close and this late in the leg, you'd still be looking for
Yeah.
like
Yeah,
longs.
I like until we get a proper 4-hour chalk.
I think we got it, the chalk.
Yeah, we did. We
Yeah.
did by wick, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I will consider it.
So you wait
yeah.
you wait for the higher time frame chalk like the 4-hour.
Yeah,
if you're
like
hitting
to
something like
really,
that.
like-
Otherwise, you
When-
just
when-
keep getting in.
When playing the 15 minutes, yeah, 4-hour chalk. It's the
Yeah.
same as when you're playing the 1 minute. You
Mm,
wait for a
15.
15-minute chalk.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
But look, there's a reason I'd still look to play this. It's because
We have
yeah, okay, we've tapped into the
Double
weekly, but
above.
look, there's a 4-hour sitting above here too, right?
Yes.
I think this is the daily.
Yeah,
Sorry.
and that
yeah.
is the first mitigation. Never trust the first
Yeah.
mitigation.
Okay, fair enough.
And not only that, here I'll quickly show you the other reason. We just mark this.
Obviously,
out.
that weekly range is massive. Obviously,
Look.
but-
Yeah.
We have a lot of like imbalance to fill. Sorry, I know we
Yeah,
probably
yeah.
shouldn't talk about imbalance, but okay.
No, that's okay.
Oh, so yeah, sorry. This is actually the
It's a
monthly
four
zone.
points.
We tapped into a monthly, guys. So like that's why you gotta be a little careful, right? Yeah, I'm gonna keep longing. Look how bullish it is, right?
Oh, I thought this first one was weekly and the small one was 4-hour. That's why.
No,
Yeah,
monthly
no,
and
no.
monthly.
Oh, okay.
So if anything here, I would be a little more hesitant. But like,
Yeah, yeah.
and here's the thing: you could be right though. Like, there's no like reason why price has to do anything, right? Like, if it wants to reverse from here, it can do that. It's
Yeah.
probably gonna like consolidate first, but then we can sort of like adjust a little bit, right?
Yeah, I didn't realize it was so high a time frame. Normally, if
Yeah.
it was coming into like closer to like a 4-hour range, then I would obviously, if it's that late in the leg, I probably
Yeah,
wouldn't take it.
That's fair.
We had the chalk here.
We did, yep. So we could potentially look to play this, right? Almost like playing the chain.
Yeah.
So I just want to be wary. Let me quickly take a look at the 4-hour. Let's just like map out our swing structure a little bit. Really, like price could come and retrace down to this, eh? So,
That would be our extreme, eh?
but I do like this level here. Look, it's swept, pushed up, right? But yeah, this would be my extreme, and this would be my high, right? So let's see. Oliver, if you want, I'll throw a limit on there for you. I think that's not a bad idea. Playing the chain, right? Now, I know somebody was saying, okay, we didn't tap into this, but what did we tap into? The range, right? So
Okay.
we're chaining, to be fair, right? Sean, I'll leave this on for you. Let's see what happens with it. But we can start attacking this a little bit more. It's nothing. I mean, we started with a pretty good trade, so we have room.
Yeah, we have
We have room to
13
make mistakes, you know.
13
Nothing
hour
wrong with that.
advantage.
Okay, so where's my break-even point, guys, on this one? What do you think?
I would say here.
This
yep.
one?
Yeah.
For me,
I did
probably
the
do
higher
a
one.
little bit higher up
Okay.
The higher one
It's
for
too
me.
near.
here for me. That's the thing. I don't have a hard and fast rule for it. On the 1 minute, it's a little easier to do. On the 15-minute, it's like, yeah, you could do one of these levels. As long as you're picking out something. What's the logic behind it? Behind a break-even? I have to ask you guys, right? Like, why are we even putting it there? It's so that we obviously protect our capital, right? But here's
Yeah.
the thing: we don't want to do it so early that like we're gonna get tapped out and miss out on the trade, right? Because there's a good chance that price might come back and retest lower, right? It could sweep this. We don't know.
Yeah.
We didn't even
Yeah,
tap into
Clary.
50% yet.
Tap into the
Yeah, it
QQ.
happens a
Yeah.
lot, doesn't it?
So I want to make sure that we're taking out multiple levels. There's a
Give
reason
it
I
more
wouldn't put it here,
space.
right? I want to take out
Normally
multiple levels
fair.
of supply, right?
Yeah, fair.
I normally wait for it to mitigate first, like at least the second time from like the original order block, and then after that, then move to the break even
See,
or
look.
trail the stop.
There you go. We would have been break even on it. So that's fine, whatever. We take an L on that, right?
Yeah,
But at least we fit that plan, right? We
clearly.
didn't know if it was going to continue up from there. No way to know, right?
Yeah, on those cases when my break-even point is far from my entry,
Yeah.
I usually take profits at 1/4, 25%.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, you can do that too, yeah. Yeah, everybody has like different ways of managing. Now this is honestly where I would
Because I
start.
use both. I use the both ways.
Oh, you do the break even too, Miguel? Yeah.
Yeah, but most of all break even. But if it's
Yeah.
too far for my entry, I get out. I put my partials at 1/4, 25%.
Oh, okay.
So I
yeah.
don't. So I cover the risk earlier.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to do as well.
So
But I don't like that much to take partials because it takes me out much volume.
Yeah, clearly.
Yeah, you're in it to win it, man. If you're right, aren't you?
And I never full TP. I take around 80-90% at my TP and let 10% run
Mhm.
until there's some other
yeah, that's a good way to do it.
significant zone.
So let's see. Sean, I think we swept you out, but we came into a zone a little bit lower, right? This one.
Yeah.
Again, it's one of those nondescript zones I wouldn't necessarily trade off of. Like again, I would not leave a limit here, but it doesn't
Yeah,
mean we
no,
can't
and
play
it's
the
at bar
reaction,
like that.
right? Jad, you want to try and short this, don't you? Right? So what's the reason I would be careful about taking shorts there? I'm not saying it's wrong. It could work, right? But the thing is, it's pretty counter trend, right?
Where
So-
are we on the 4 hours?
So that's the thing.
The 4 hour will be
we
realigned
pulled
now.
back. Yeah, we pulled back to like 75% of the
At
floor.
that moment, I wouldn't search for shots.
Yeah, me neither. Now, in Jad's defense, if you were gonna short that, like I said, it's not it's not the worst idea. We were taking out like multiple levels of like internal range liquidity on the 15-minute. I would just look to TP really quick, right, and
Yeah.
break even very aggressively. So like, here's the thing: if we were to take a short off of here, I'd probably look to break even, like maybe even at this, right? Just because like we're counter trend to the 4 hour very clearly, right, and the daily. Even though we're pro 15, you got to be careful about that, right?
Yeah.
So
The way I think is we could edge short, but if we don't have a buy, I don't think it's
so we
risky.
got taken out, right?
Yeah.
So we can always look to maybe play a catalyst for the pullback, but again, I'd probably wait for a chalk. But you have to remember the nature of like usually a pullback like this is you're probably going to get some sort of like corrective price action or chain like that, right? And then, right, it's our whole idea of impulsive corrective, right? Impulsive corrective.
See, it's funny because I hear your reasons, and the reason why I would take a short is I would take a short and then I would look for a reaction off of reach the demands, but I would also keep up with price and look for any immediate supplies for it to break.
Mhm.
And if it breaks a supply, then I would obviously get out the trade. But
Yeah.
since it seems to have supported the supplies, I would continue to hold the trade until it broke a supply.
Yeah, no, fair enough.
Rob, do you trade your stops?
Do I trade without stops? Or do I
Trail.
trade
Do you trade
Trail
stops?
stops.
Oh, do I trail stops? No, I personally I don't. No. I just break even and I take partials
Me neither.
in live. Yeah, I've done it before though. Like, I mean, it's up to like your personal preference, right? Test it. Have some sort of management plan, right?
I've done it sometimes, and it was not good for me.
Yeah, me neither.
Yeah.
I didn't like that.
I
It
got
stumped
out a lot
my
of times
trades.
early on the trades because of that.
Yeah,
So I
same.
gave up using them.
If you're taking a trade and going out for it day and don't have access to charts, it's handy. But if you sat in front of your screen, like then
I
But
can
it's the
use
same
it,
thing.
and
Yeah.
I'll use it in the cases that imagine that I'm reacting from a daily zone entering 1 minute, and targeting another daily zone. Then I would probably trail at 15 minutes swing. Only on that,
That's
only on
aggressive.
those phases. Now, intraday, I don't think it's worth it.
Okay.
Right.
Or
Yeah.
Yeah,
swing,
Shane,
yeah.
to speak on your point a bit, like, here's the thing: there are tools that allow you to automate the like partial take profits too, right? So, I would
Yeah.
like, yeah, as much as like, you know, I want to say, yeah, I would trail it. Like for me, it's the same as Miguel. I'm sure he's had the same experience, since it sounds like, you know, we always have the same ideas, anyways. Like it would always stunt like a lot of my trades, right? I'd be entering something and then it ends up running, and it's like it pulls back. It pulls
Yeah,
back
yeah.
and it takes me out, and it's like, okay, I just missed out on like a ton of profit, right?
Yeah.
And that
20
was
hours or
super
something.
annoying for me. Yeah. That's the
Yeah, on
reason.
swing trades, yes, I would probably trail if I want to hold lots of volume.
Yeah.
But on the intraday, I don't think it's worth the risk.
For
Yeah,
swing
yeah.
trading, it definitely makes more sense to do that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The last time I used it was in a short on AU that was 1 to 400, and
Yeah. There you
I
go.
took
There's
and I
certain
took around,
situations that make sense to do that, right?
Yeah.
I took some partials and I trailed my stop, and I was out at 100, more or less.
Nice.
So let's see. Probably could enter this one. It's
Think
not
this
the
will hold.
clearest, but like we have a flip here too, right? The reason I entered the one up top is because that to me is like pretty impulsive price action. Now,
Yeah.
I think what happened though is we tapped into this level of demand. So we got to be a little careful. I mean, we're ranging here, so we should really be playing the edges, if anything. But if you guys want, we can enter this one, or we can. Let's pick between these two. What do you guys want to enter? This one or this one?
The limit.
Question real quick.
Top one.
Just looking at it, I just finished praying, so I'm coming on late. My apologies for that.
No
but
worries, man. No
just
worries.
looking at what you just showed, why are we trying to trade into that protected high? That high up to the top just broke the low. Now we had a pullback up into it. It remitigated. It mitigated the buy to sell before the break of the low. So why are we thinking of trading into that? Shouldn't we be looking at sales? Just from me looking at that high broke that low. You see to the
Yeah,
left where you
you're
have
right. We actually took out a ton of levels of demand, right? But look, we're also reacting to this level right here, and we've taken out levels of supply, right? And maybe you didn't see the 4 hour is very, very bullish, right? So that's the reason, you know, I was looking to sort of
I
chase it.
time frame intentions.
Yeah. So yeah, in this case, like, sure, it was an aggressive trade, but look, we swept liquidity. It was a flip. To me, this is like a valid place to take an L, right? Or you can wait and maybe play like the better priced ones, right? So I'm gonna leave it on the lower one. Let's see if we come and get tapped into it. It's a good question though, and you're right. Like that is in a way a protected high in the sense that, I mean, it's reacting off of it. Number one, we took out all of this, right? But the way that I'm looking at it more so, right, based on like my higher time frame analysis, is that this is more so liquidity or sweeping or pushing up, right?
Yes, and
And yeah, we're in a monthly and we like zone up here. There's a weekly that we're kind of like expecting is that price is going to continue up to, but you know, price is rounding off too. So I mean, it's rangy, right? We're just kind of playing it. We kind of diddled in the middle and we got burnt, right? So
yeah.
Okay, cool.
yeah. So that got swept, right? The decisional.
Mm.
I have a feeling it's not going to come down to the low, but let's see.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
Oh,
Oh, you know what? It
yeah.
came
The
to.
decision.
No, it didn't even come to this.
No.
Here, we'll adjust our order. It didn't quite tap into it yet, but we can do this, right? We'll give it 12 pips or whatever. So let's see if it comes back down. Now we've chalked too, right? So
Yeah.
let
Yeah, we can-
me just move this and slow or like minimize this a bit. See if price retests. If anything, we could maybe try to play this, but
Yeah.
what
It's
do you
that
guys think?
imbalance thing again, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's see if it pulls back. It's kind of building liquidity. Okay, this is kind of our chance to enter it. Do you guys want to? We can attack this one more time. So either we enter here and we leave our limit and we see this as liquidity, or we enter market, for a pretty poor fill. What do you think? You
At
guys feel
market
like-
now.
Enter market.
Market now.
At
Oh, you
market
guys
right
do
now.
market?
Press buy, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You guys don't want
buy.
to trade with a 15 pip stop loss like this? Not 20 pips, I mean? You sure?
I wouldn't take
yeah.
that.
No, you wouldn't take it.
I would wait for a pullback.
No, it's
Yeah, let's
too,
wait, let's wait.
too wide.
I'd probably dropped at 5 seconds.
No, it looks like it's gonna run it. Let's see. It's building equals, right?
Yeah.
It's just Asia now as well.
And then it goes. I'm still gonna leave it on. It's still valid, right?
Yeah,
Until
yeah.
we really violate the highs. Let's see.
No.
Oh.
There we go.
Ooh.
Wow.
Ooh,
Oh.
we get taken out.
Yeah, it's right
Yeah,
back.
we did.
No missing.
It's all good.
Sweep.
I think the weekly demand is good. The weekly supply is holding now.
It is, yeah.
You have a supply chain, yeah.
So this one did not get tapped into yet. I'll mark it out like this, but looks like we tapped into this instead, right?
Yeah. What are these equals right here? See you later.
Yeah.
There's a window of
Yeah.
influence there.
There you go. So yeah, it's too bad. We could have actually probably played. No, we probably would have gotten break even on this if we had like
Yeah.
somehow
At
found
this
a way
point-
to enter it, right?
Yeah. At this point, we are in a range, so
Yeah.
I think play the extreme,
Play
but
the edges. Yep. Yep.
yeah, it come off something not clearly visible. So I don't know.
Quickly take a look at the 4 hour again. Okay, now we're in the extreme of the 4 hour as well, right? So let's just be mindful of that, right? Could just be a pullback. Okay, I'm gonna mark out this 15-minute to the extreme, just to be aware of it. I'm not gonna leave a limit on it, but again, we could maybe play a chalk if we really want to take longs off that. We don't want to like override our bias too much and say that.
I think
we're
we are
only gonna take
reacting
shorts
there
now, right?
from a flip. Yeah, we are reacting here from a flip.
On you're saying this one?
At the left, no. Left.
Oh, okay, okay.
Here.
Looks like it swept it.
Yeah, we swept it.
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. We use liquidity here. I'll mark this out because it's still kind of relevant, right? We got our chalk and stuff just now. Oh no, did we? No, not yet. Be waiting for this. Yeah. Okay, let's see. There's London. Price pushing up. Oh no, sorry, this is Asia, right? There isn't really much of an entry here yet. It looks like
No.
price is starting to want to like trade up higher, right? I agree, we got liquidity here. This
No.
isn't bad.
I'm not pretty confident in those
No.
level.
It's the Asia range, isn't it? So
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not seeing any level so that I could long there at the moment.
Yeah, I'd probably wait too. It does look like liquidity, right?
Yeah.
It tapped into the range, but I can't see myself necessarily entering that. It looks like it tapped into like, yeah, that. And again, this could be used as liquidity, exactly. Jad, that's a good
Yeah.
point. Shane, that's not the worst level either. Like, in fairness, we could be chaining. If you want, I'll throw it on for you. What do you guys think? Yeah? Enter market?
Yeah,
We
why
can
not?
cover this low, yeah. If we get swept, we get swept, right?
Yep.
Yeah,
Well,
there you go.
it worked out.
Wow. There you go.
See, this is
Yeah.
why I covered the low too, right? Because
That's the story of my trading right there.
okay, so
I enter, text me out, and bang.
so break even here.
Interesting.
That's good. Where do we want to target? I'm gonna say let's actually target that daily up there for this one. Oh fuck.
Yeah.
So we're talking like a pretty thick trade here. Jeez. Yeah, we'll see right up here. We'll fill that imbalance, right? On the weekly. So that's a 21-hour trade if it hits TP. Let's see, and we can look to start to potentially play scale-ins as well in a bit. Well, if we don't get taken out break even, right? I would definitely be interested in this. why it's a flip zone, right? Off of this, these got blown
Yeah.
through,
Yep.
right?
Broke
So
structure.
do you guys see why like I was very hesitant to try and like short this at any of these levels? Because remember, I'm trying to like play with the overall like higher time frame.
Yeah,
area,
we
like, the
are
4 hour.
in
We
a
have to be
pullback,
like
yeah.
aware of it.
Yeah.
It's good that we keep doing these because there's never one particular backtesting call that can kind of cover all the scenarios. But like the more that we do this, the more we build up a library of videos of like us testing, right? And it's just as good as, you know, testing in like a live market, right? Where we're just constantly practicing like the different scenarios, right? Market conditions are always shifting, right? It's the one variable thing, right? Within your trading plan, you want to be pretty like constant with all your variables, whether it's your, you know, the times you trade, the setups you take, the pairs you trade, stuff like that, right? But you let the market be the thing that's kind of changing, right? And we can adapt to it and stuff, right? So yeah, let's see. Oh, sorry, I was gonna mark out that level of supply that filled, right? Because I kind of want to mark out, okay, where's our flip here, right? So we have our failure, right? Price sweeps. Oh no, sorry, it actually would have been lower. I'm more so looking at what built liquidity, right? So it doesn't matter what it taps into. It doesn't really like matter to me. Okay, it's not that one. It must be this one right here, right? Because that didn't get mitigated 50%. Doesn't look like until here, right? So we get a reaction. We violate it. We sweep it, right? So this is a really nice level to play off of.
Yeah.
And of
then
course,
we broke
there's the
structure.
extreme too, right? So let's see what happens. If price even comes back down. I'll throw a limit on this though. We'll do the 50%. Or maybe the wicks. Let's do the wicks.
Yeah.
It doesn't even really matter in terms of like how big the stop loss is. We're talking a 13 pip stop. So I'll just move this over a little bit so it's cleaner. Do we get tapped in? Okay, this is where I would look to probably try and enter because we didn't get tapped in yet, right? I have a feeling it's not going to come lower, but let's see.
It's open.
Yeah. Had we taken the whole thing, right?
Yeah, that's it. It did tap in, didn't it? It just
Yeah.
didn't come to where we wanted it.
No. We got a little bit greedy. That's okay. Yeah, we have a lot of liquidity to target here. Now, remember, we're kind of playing within a range too, right? So we could have hedged this, and we still can hedge it. We got our chalk, right? Took the high, took the low.
Yeah.
That short will be so well positioned as well if we
It would be,
change
yeah.
trend now.
It would be, absolutely. Oh, look, it actually
Look at-
tapped into
look at-
this.
Don's 1 to 400.
I'm gonna leave this limit on here. Let's see if we come tap in or not.
Yeah.
Oh,
We are going to.
are we though?
Was it?
This is one of those situations where I would actually do
playing
this
with us.
sometimes, right? Where like I'll just enter market and cover the low. Because in theory,
As you want, but
Yeah.
I will play the chuck here, I think.
That's fair. Oh, and play this? Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah,
You could do
yeah.
it that way. Yeah, I don't know. I have a habit of entering market sometimes like that. It just depends, right? We didn't chalk yet. It looks like it's gonna go to me. You're right. We didn't get a chalk, but sometimes you won't get one. You know. And like when it does chalk, like it's gone. You know. So
Yeah, yeah, I
I'm
know
just
that.
thinking here, would I enter this? I would definitely enter this market, even though
Yeah, let's go.
this is one of those situations where like I wouldn't even wait for a chalk because we're pro trend, right?
Yeah.
I'll cover the low and I'll leave the other limit on too because we're breaking in on the
Can-
other one. But
Can you explain a little bit further why you will do that? You know, like for me, it doesn't make sense because it's look like we protected this eye and we are running this.
it does.
sell-side
I know it does look
liquidity.
like that, right? The thing
Is
is,
that yeah?
the thing is, I'm really just taking a risk decisional entry, right?
Okay.
So I'm just
yeah.
playing within this leg. That's it, right?
Yeah, fair.
Sometimes I think it makes sense to. Wait, did I play it forward by 1 bar? Can't remember. Where did I enter here? Or
No,
I just
no,
copied
we
it,
are.
right?
No.
Okay, so I could
We
say
were
that I
there.
entered market here, right?
Yeah.
And it gives us kind of better pricing. I'm gonna cover the
50%.
50% of this, yeah, just
Yeah.
to be safe.
Yeah, let's go.
Okay, we're in. Obviously, we
We're
would
in on
have taken
both.
off the other position, so I'll delete that. Because we're in this one now, right?
I'm kicked off well.
There you go.
There we go.
So break even. Where's our
use-
break even point?
Nice.
Because it's a scale in, I'm gonna say let's break even here, right? But if
Yeah,
it
yeah.
weren't, then I'd probably say this up here, right? So it's good. We're break
Yeah.
even. If price comes back, takes us out, then whatever, who cares, right?
Do you guys go into Wyckoff, or do you just use Chalk as the simplified like Wyckoff?
We used to, yeah, but we don't really look at that anymore.
Price rounding. That's Wyckoff, really, isn't it?
Yeah,
Yeah,
I just
was about
find
to
it's
call
like
out accumulation.
overcomplicated.
Yeah, I was about to say it looks like a very obvious accumulation, but it just makes things complicated.
It does, yeah. The best part about Wyckoff, and really the only part that I ever used, was like spring and test, basically, right? Like
Yeah.
UTAD, whatever.
Yeah, few, yeah.
'Cause it's
A few
liquid.
candles are
Simple,
most
but-
powerful.
Yeah. Now we could have hedged this, eh? What do you guys think? I probably
Yeah,
would
why
have
not?
hedged this, but
That's
Yeah.
the spot we called before, I think, as well. Yeah.
because I didn't call it and put it on, if anything, let's wait for a chalk on this one, right? Or we could just enter risk right now. You guys down?
I will
I'll
wait
wait for a
for a chalk.
Yeah.
Right, so you guys remember what I was saying before, right? Whenever we're playing counter trend into a POI, right?
May I ask a quick question?
What do we typically get? A chain, right? Yeah.
Sure.
What's up? What's your question?
In the present price action, can we consider that we are already bullish on 4 hour?
Yeah, we're bullish on the 4 hour. Yeah.
We're just stuck within this range right now.
Yeah. It's that whole idea of impulsive, corrective. Now we're expecting impulsive price action.
Yeah,
Right?
we are in on a complex pullback on the 4 hour.
Right?
Yeah,
Our swing
but at
points
this
are here.
point,
Yeah.
yeah.
Here to here, Mario.
I hate to mention Wyckoff again, but it looks like a larger accumulation on the
It
4
does,
hour
yeah.
as well.
Like a reaccumulation, right?
yeah, basically.
It's funny, I have not thought about Wyckoff for months until you just brought it up now. Like, I just don't even think about it.
My bad.
It's funny though, I
mean, like,
studied it too. Like, I think a lot of us did. And again, even I don't know if you who here is like was here like when Phantom started, like, you know, over a year ago, but it was kind of part of what we taught a little bit. And I think Phantom himself uses it. Not sure.
I think it just does make things very complicated. But I have friends who trade that way a lot, but they're on the charts like 24/7.
Yeah.
So.
Listen, there are like anything can work at the end of the day. I'm wholly convinced of that. I think I was talking to you guys last time about, you know, algorithms and stuff, right? Because we were talking about like trade psychology and the fact that, like, you know, an algorithm can pretty much trade, you know, without emotion in a sense.
Yeah.
Like, it's gonna keep executing the same thing over and over.
Yeah, and
So I've been
perfectly
experimenting
do,
with like doing that a little bit. I've been using a tool. I won't mention it because we don't do algorithms at Phantom. Maybe we will in the future. I have no idea, but it's just something I was just like playing around with, right? And actually, hold on. Let's just quickly pay attention here. We could
we have
potentially
the
long
demand
right?
chain here.
Yeah, we have. A
Yeah, it
pretty
looks
nice one.
valid.
Yeah.
Now,
Just broke that high as well.
yeah, I was gonna say, so we could potentially, and like these are all liquidity, which is nice, right? I'm gonna say let's throw a limit on here. We're break even on the other one. It's effectively
Yeah.
the same as like, or we can say we would move our stop down. What do you guys want to do on this one? We could move our stop, right? It's a little bit of a discretionary play, or we could just throw this on, right? Like,
I don't understand by moving the stuff.
the reason I'd move the stop on this is because if I'm gonna throw a limit on here, it's pretty much
to
the same
protect
as me
it.
entering again, right? So I might as
Yeah.
well just stick to my original position, right?
Yeah, I would do both.
Yeah. Oh, so you would move the stop and put the limit on?
Yeah, I would move my stop here,
Okay.
protect only this low.
Okay, that's fair. Yeah.
Then you lose like half your original risk.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's fair. Okay, we could do that.
it's not that bad.
'Cause then just remember our
So you'd lose like
if it's
1.5%.
yeah, if we lose, we count it as a loss.
if
Yeah,
you lose
we'll
by-
lose it as half an hour or whatever, right?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, it would skew data to be fair.
Anyways, I forget the point I was making with
Yeah,
Algos,
Rob,
but-
Rob, you're talking something about when we're trading into a POI counter trend before someone interrupted.
Oh yeah, so as I was mentioning before, right? If we are gonna try and play a counter trend thing, I tend not to like take risk entries like this, right? Like if we're trying to take like a hedge, we always want to wait. Remember, like if we're moving in this impulsive and corrective sort of price action, usually you're gonna get like a chalk at some point here, and then you can look to play the chain, right? But you want to look to take profit early on these, right? Because you don't know if price is gonna then do this, right? So that's just kind of the logic behind like how we play a pullback and play counter trend hedges and stuff, right? If we're in shorts, and even if we're not, right? Even if you just want to play the pullback on its own, it's fine, right? You wait for a chalk and stuff, right?
So are you trying to say that counter trend we wait for confirmation and pro trend we would put in a risk entry more often?
Pro trend is more friendly to risk entry, absolutely, right? Yeah, I would say that. Now here's the thing, right? I want to like mention taking risk entries is something that I would say takes a little bit more skill and practice to like learn how to do it effectively, but obviously if you can do it, right, and you've practiced it, like do it, right? Because I take risk entries all the time. Like I did it last week. I think I did it this week. I don't remember. It's all.
So one of the things that I'm struggling with is when I wait for a confirmation entry, I tend to miss the move more often. I'm not talking about FOMO because I'm not actually trading, but marking out of zones is something like, okay, it's going to come back, and then the move is gone. So is there something that I can do to make that point better?
Honestly, it's a matter of practice. Like if you're not taking risk entries or whatever, I don't think there's a problem with waiting for your confirmation entries and stuff, right? Waiting for the chalk. The reason that it's probably missing you, if I had to guess, is that I don't want to say this, but it's possible that you're maybe not chasing the market enough. If you have high momentum moves, there are a lot of situations. Let me see if I can even find one here, where like, I mean, yeah, you might get swept out. Like there's certain things like this. Like maybe if you had entered this, right, where you could enter, you're not necessarily going to get swept out. Maybe you get tapped out break even, but if you have high momentum in a market, you almost want to just follow it, right, as it creates new like chains of structure, or like in this case a demand chain if it's going long, right? Because if you're too hesitant or you're like kind of placing it out of the way, sometimes it's not going to get tapped, right? It's very contextual though. Like I'm giving you such a broad statement as to like what might be the solution for that problem, but it really depends on the market conditions, right? And so that's why I'm telling you like it's a matter of practicing it, right? So
I guess I tend to wait for the extreme even in case of a high momentum move, and that is what probably is problem.
Listen, it's not the worst thing either that you're doing that, right? It's okay to miss trades as long as you hit them once in a while. Like it, I like I said, I know people that trade like 7 times the entire month. They take 7 positions. They're doing great. Like they're not even swing trading. They're trading on the 1 minute too, right? Multiple pairs. They're just very conservative and they know exactly what they want to take. So and it depends on the pair that you're trading too, right? EU likes to play decisionals sometimes. It also likes to play extremes, right? So if you can call the right extremes out, right, and maybe you just practice only taking extremes because it's within like your comfort level, like do that, right? But I would also say, if that's an area that you feel like you can improve on, go practice, go back test, right, and back test taking decisionals, see which ones work, right? For me, I try not to chase it too much, right? Like there is like a fine line you kind of want to like strike, or like a fine balance you want to strike between like over chasing and trying to like trade all within like this range. Like you don't see me trying to long off of like level like this when we're ranging, right? I'm trying to play the edges, right? So I have my limits set at the edge. If it doesn't tap it, it doesn't tap it. It's okay, right? If it does, great. I'm like better priced, there you go. Price is taking off. So I mean, you can see there's this level that I had marked out here where, again, we're pro trend. We could have played a risk entry on this, right? But I mean, I agree. Like I like this level better. It's better priced. We have our stop loss lower down, right?
Would you not call it already mitigated there?
Which one? This one?
Yeah, that lower one mitigated from. Did it reach with the wick or
not?
not?
Really? Yeah, it just wicked it. It's so subtle.
Did it wick the open or not?
It wicked like the high, if that. I don't even think it wicked the high. Let me actually like make it a little bit more accurate.
No, I don't think it touched it.
It like barely touched it. So no, I wouldn't call it mitigated. And that's the reason we left our limit there, right? I don't think I would have left it on that, if I'm being honest, right?
Yeah,
I've been screwed so many times leaving limits on stuff like this overnight in Asia, and then You just wake up and it's like, okay, great, I lost 1 hour. That's nice.
And as we already are in the trades, we don't need to risk our capital trying to chase the market.
Yeah, clearly.
So how much part of the wick, if it's covering the main candle, is supposed to be considered as mitigation? If it just breaks it 10%.
Like on 15 minute, I usually want to see like, 50%. It doesn't mean that it has to. Sometimes it'll tap into 25%. Sometimes it'll run it, right? Sometimes it'll sweep it. And we can say like, okay, it swept it, mitigated something, or took the liquidity, right? On the 4 hour, I want to say at minimum, I want to see it get tapped like 10 to 15% of the entire range, right? So if this is our 4 hour and the price is coming up, right? It's a supply level. I want to see like this much get tapped at minimum. But again, never trust the first mitigation either, right? Like usually it's going to come deeper into like the 75%. Sometimes it'll even sweep it if we're talking about GU, right? For those of you that trade GU, am I wrong about that? I don't know. Like I said, I don't really trade GU anymore, so I know it likes to sweep stuff, which is why I don't like it.
Yeah, I trade GU all the time. Yeah, it sweeps a lot.
Sweeps too much for my liking.
It does, yeah. Some get caught out, but it likes the extremes, that is for sure.
Yeah.
So, like, I'm sorry I'm asking very stupid questions, but...
No, not at all. Don't say that, because there's no question here that's stupid. Like, we're happy to answer. Everybody's learning from it, right? So,
yeah, clearly.
Go ahead, man.
So, like, when I'm trying to... I joined Phantom like a week and a half back and went through the course. So when I'm trying to use on the chart, I have just stuck to EU and I've not really gone to other pairs. Do you recommend to backtest it on other pairs so you get a better understanding of how the charts are really working, or would you suggest to stay away from other charts?
Yeah, if you're new, I would recommend sticking to just one pair. That's really all you need, right? The reason I don't recommend to people like to practice multiple pairs at once, because they have different characteristics. It's just going to confuse you. When I started, do you guys want to know what I started with? I started by trading like 20 pairs. It was pretty stupid. And I did the same thing in retail, and like, I didn't really learn anything. I really didn't. I just wasted time. Like,
I've not just time. I've lost a lot of money as well. Well, not
that too,
yeah.
I've lost money with it too.
I've lost a lot of money in private accounts and that, trading about 10 pairs and trying to keep on top of it, or not even really knowing what I'm doing. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. So it's no good.
You gotta be careful, right?
Yeah,
I was trading almost every pair.
Yeah.
And besides that, I was counting Elliott waves on all of them.
Imagine. Oh my god, I can't imagine.
Imagine.
Yeah, it's funny you guys mentioned that, because I don't know if I ever told you guys the story of how I started with Forex, but it was actually a friend of mine that told me about it, because I was trading like oil and natural gas and stuff at the time. I was trading commodities with like Thinkorswim. I don't know if you guys know that platform, but I was trading that, whatever, and then he told me about a retail strategy, and I was like, okay, great, it's Forex. I tried trading Forex with Thinkorswim because they have that, and I realized like, wow, this is like complicated. I don't know what a pip is, right? Again, I'm like used to like trading, contracts of whatever. Like I was trading basically like futures a lot of the time, right?
Yeah.
Natural gas and oil futures, right? So I was doing that, and then I ended up, spending like pretty much a year trading that retail strategy. And out of those 20 pairs that I traded, number one, euro dollar was the worst pair that I traded, and UJ I was like somewhat consistent with, but dollar CAD, I guess because it was just rangy, was the only one that I had like, break even to a little bit like net profit on, right? And this is over like, and I did like a lot of testing. I did a whole like 108 trades of like just set and forget. So I set the trades up. I had like a hard TP set for them, and then I would just try to trade it, and I did very like poorly, but like I tried to execute. I tried to be consistent with it. I don't think I was, now in hindsight. I journaled every trade. It was fun, right? But wow, this is really pulling back, eh? So we'd obviously be break even on this guy still, right? We would have moved it back here. Let's see if this gets taken out though. Right, we're still floating in it. This would be a pretty hard one to hold, I think.
Yeah.
I'd probably sweat. I'm not gonna lie. Yeah. So let's see, because we're building a lot of like trendline liquidity here too, so we gotta be a little bit careful. Close this one out. We took an L on this one, so we'll say 5 invalid, 9. Oops.
Can you talk a bit about trade management? Because when you're testing it, it seems a lot trickier than said.
What, trade management?
Yeah.
In what sense? Like
the
break even,
like the
taking partials, that kind of thing?
Yeah, setting hard TP essentially, because break even I understand.
Yeah, so here's what's not realistic about what we're trading right now. It's because we can't really calculate it. I would absolutely be looking to take partial profits pretty much at any like major 15-minute zone here as it gets run, right? Usually I'll take off like 30. Yeah, I like to do it in like either 25%, so quarters, or like in thirds, right? Where I have all my magic keys. I have, you know, partial TP set here. Okay, I take off 30% of my position size, and I'm taking profits on the way up, right? If I'm very pro trend and like price is very impulsive and it's not corrective like this, then usually what I'll do is I'll, you know, hold it at full position. Like I did that with that 24-hour trade that I took last week. I just held it. It took like some discipline to do it, right? But you know, I could have easily like partialed or hard TP'd earlier, right? The reason I do that though is so obviously we pay ourselves, right? The thing that you don't want to have happen to you is you hold a trade like this and then it comes and takes you out after like running, you know, to a peak of whatever 20R. Like that's annoying. You don't want that, right?
Remember to pay yourself.
Yeah, you have to pay yourself.
I've done that many times as well.
So for this, look, I have hard TPs set here just because we're just backtesting anyways, right? And there's no way for me to very easily calculate. Like I do it with Software FX because obviously we can actually like test that out, right? Yeah. We're doing we can kind of practice our partials and stuff, right? So there we go. We hit our TP on these two. Let's quickly calculate it. We've got 21 plus, what was that, 12 and a half. Can you guys do the math?
Yeah, 33.
33 and a half.
33 and a half. So let's do 33.5. So there we go. We're net 42.5 R. We have 2 more valid trades in there. Again, this is kind of skewed because regardless, these would have been valid, right? Even if they had hit BE in a live market, because I would have partialed, right? So I would have taken some profit off of it.
Yeah.
So look, my strike rate is terrible as always, as you guys know. I never had a high strike rate from even like my MyFX book that I shared with you guys. Like, it's kind of embarrassing, but like, whatever. I'm working on it. It doesn't matter. I make R, right?
Yeah.
That's all that matters.
But it's profit.
Yeah. It's also to illustrate, right? Like, whatever. I'm a coach and stuff. My strike rate's not good. You guys don't need a good strike rate. You can always improve it later, right? It's better you're consistent and you keep on taking trades and take losses to the chin. Like these losses, they don't really matter to me, right? Because we're netting, right?
But as a beginner, how do you have the mindset to take such a low strike rate? Because it's because you're not really sure about what's working out on, right? So like as a beginner, the thing that kind of troubles me the most when I'm on the charts is whether am I doing it right? Like, and with the low strike rate, it kind of, if the variance kind of, I mean, if the strike rate goes lower, the variance goes higher, and you know, it's like I hope
that's a really good question. What I always recommend to people is do your daily markups and hindsight backtest if you need to build the skill up first, because obviously you're gonna have an extremely low strike rate at the start unless you have some natural like talent to be able to you know, trade the market well, right? Maybe you have the psychology. It's almost like playing like an instrument or something, right? Like I like to like think of it as that. Okay, there's some level of talent to it, sure. Like maybe you, for whatever reason, maybe you play another instrument and you can transfer it to that, but you know, in the end, like this is a skill-based endeavor, just like, you know, riding a bike, playing a sport, playing an instrument, right? So yeah, maybe you have some natural skill at it, whatever, but for the most part, I would say like maybe 90+% of people don't have that skill, right? They definitely don't have the psychological skill because it's so like counterintuitive to trade, number one, right? Number two, the technical skill is a very difficult skill to like hone, right? And then when you combine the two of them, it makes it even harder, right? Like you have to combine, you know, trade psychology and like managing your emotions and stuff with also like executing, you know, an edge that you haven't even really developed yet. You're probably gonna have a strike rate of like under 10% or like lower, right? It's fine, whatever. Not a big deal. Go practice, right? And spend the time to do it. It's gonna take time, right?
Like does having a background in the variance field help? Because like my profession is essentially I'm a mid-high stakes poker player, so kind of use
are you?
variance.
Okay, yeah. If you're a professional poker player, you probably have the trade psychology partly there, right? It's the same as you trying not to get tilted in a professional poker game, right?
Yeah.
So that's good. If you have that, yeah, definitely. Like I wouldn't say, you know, it doesn't mean you shouldn't go and like, look at like trading psychology books, like Trading in the Zone, or like go watch Mark Douglas's seminar. Right? It's the same
Actually,
thing.
I'm by qualification, I'm a chartered market technician, so I've read all those books, trading
Oh,
psychology
okay.
books.
Okay, I see. Cool. Yeah, so I mean, like, if you have like some trade psychology skills, or like, sorry, psychology skills, you understand like probabilities and stuff. Like, again, there's certain things that'll transfer, right? The technical part is a different thing. Again, it takes time to learn it. This is not. I definitely don't think this is like the easiest way to like learn trading. I think to
It's
learn
not.
a retail strategy with like indicators is way easier, but I mean, this is obviously like one of the more lucrative ways of trading, right? So
That's what I did essentially before I became a poker player. Is that design automated systems using indicators for folks.
oh, there you go.
So
There you go.
that's so when I came to this, it was so complicated because I got the I have gone through content before I joined Phantom, tried to implement it and failed miserably, honestly. So
It is a very hard strategy to implement for sure, right? So
Literally, today I passed my FTMO, and my first 2 trades was losses. I took 2% loss, and after that, I take 7% winner. So for both emotions for myself, this is a big improvement, and I saw that the psychology part is the most important thing is patience.
yeah, the
That-
psychology part is definitely was the biggest challenge for me too. It's
Yeah.
normal, right? Because like I said, it's not intuitive. Like it goes against everything you think, right?
Yeah.
You almost like
the
I think the hard part for people
technicals-
is the like taking losses to the chin, right? I don't know, Miguel, what do you think?
The technicals are the easiest part.
Yeah, yeah,
Because
definitely.
it's automated. Psychological, no.
Yeah.
like because of my background, I'm more concerned about being able to execute it properly. If I know I've executed it properly, I'm okay with the losses because like the variance in what I've done so far is much higher than variance we're able to see over here. So it's almost always about whether you're doing it correctly technically or not. For me, which is I don't know if I'm doing right now. I'm still not sure if I'm doing it properly or not.
Yeah, again, it's a skill based thing, right? So it's a matter of building the skill up, right? So eventually you will get good at it, so long as you stick to it, right? But I had the same like worries too, right? When I started trading this way, it's like I literally felt like I didn't know what I was doing, and it's true, I didn't. But then you slowly build the skill up, right? It takes a lot of like work though and practice. And again, maybe for some people it comes like more naturally. For others, it's harder. I think it was like exceptionally hard for me. It's all relative, right? So
The majority of the people that fail in forex is because they gave up
yeah,
early.
Yeah.
that's true. Yeah.
The thing is, they gave up because of the losses. But if you have a growth mindset, you know that the losses,
it's
the
part
loss
of the
is
game.
what build, your confidence and your skills.
It's true.
It's
At
the
the end of
same
the
as
day.
if you are a professional player,
The same in
a
poker as
football
well. Like,
player, you won't always win. You will
Yeah,
lose.
absolutely.
Yeah. Okay.
It's the same thing.
like even in poker, like most people kind of lose money because they give up too early or
Yeah.
don't study the technicalities of it more often than not.
Yeah, we could go on the chart, I think.
He's counting the cards.
But somehow poker is more of a gamble, but trading is a managed risk, I think. We manage our risk, but in the poker is only if you win or you lose. Here we don't we don't risk our full capital, so that's
Well,
a good part.
You don't ever risk as a professional player. You don't ever risk more than
Yeah, I was gonna say you don't risk your whole your whole net worth.
You
on a
don't
single
go all
poker
in
game either.
at the first end.
You have to think of poker. I correct me if I'm wrong. Himanshu, I don't know if I'm pronouncing your name right, but
Himanshu, yeah.
yeah, it's almost like you're treating a single poker game as a trade in a sense, right? Because it's a long series
Yeah.
of poker games. If you're consistent over, obviously there's also the micro level where you're doing, it's per hand, right? You're letting the probabilities play out. what you're dealt.
Not
and, like,
really.
What's put
Yeah,
out, right?
I mean that's there, but essentially what we do is we've got solvers who have created strategies on the frequency of betting, folding, and checking.
Yeah.
And based on what cards are dealt to us and with where we are setting with regards to our opponents and the cards dealt on the table below, we will try to follow it as closely as possible. So it's like a holistic approach to the game. But of course, the actions do depend upon the cards that come in. But like you don't win. Like if I'm playing an absolute amateur, he can probably win against me for say 1k, 2k, or 5k hands. But if he plays 100,000 hands, then I'm probably gonna make him lose his house towards me.
Yeah, so it's the same as like trading in the sense that like you always want a big sample size, right? You can't ever look at it by trade basis. You can't ever look at it as like one poker game at a time, right? Like it's a series of poker games really that you're kind of waiting for, right? To see like your edge play out.
Yeah. Just the thing is that I agree with the aspect that the risk is slightly lower in trading, primarily because I ran the simulations, and so even with the current strike rate that you're showing, the probability of you having something like a 17 or 20 continuous losing trades is minimal. It's like less than 5%.
Yeah.
But in poker, you're gonna have like even if you play perfectly, you're going to lose 17 binds or 18 binds. That is 17-18% of your capital almost every second month, which is very normal, and you can't do anything about it. So in that case, yes, it's a bit more risky. But I mean, and also the sample required there is millions of hands, and I don't think we can have millions of trades over it.
Rob, I just saw Abdul asked about can you show an example of decisional and extreme? And I'd say that this one just here that just played out is probably a good example.
Sorry, of the short or the long?
Of the short that's just played.
This one, yeah. Okay, so this, okay, this is actually.
You're right. He was just asking about it, so.
Yeah. So, to answer your question, what is the difference between a decisional and extreme? I'll do it in the most simple terms, right? Usually, what it is we're in this case we didn't really tap into anything. Maybe we did. It's hard for me to look that far to the left. My computer's kind of laggy right now. But usually, we're tapping into whatever a higher time frame POI. You get our change of character, whether it's counter trend or pro, right? And you can apply this to the 1 or 15 minute, right? All the extreme is, well, let me draw this out too. So we have a demand here too, right? All the extreme is this level up here, right? The very extreme of like the leg, right? So that's one thing. Then we have kind of our flip that plays out here, right? And usually I want it to sweep some sort of liquidity, right? And this would be our decisional, meaning we have to decide between this one or this one, right? So what can happen, right? There's pretty much, I would say, 3 scenarios that can happen. First scenario, you hit SL, right? Let's be realistic about it. It happens, right? Second scenario, price comes, taps in, it holds on the decisional, right? It happens usually if there's like good momentum in the market. Yeah. Maybe you're pro trend, we're probably short, whatever, or like we're let me draw this properly. We're probably bearish, right? Overall, so whatever, you're playing a continuation on the 15 minute. Okay, great, right? If there's high momentum, these tend to work out pretty well. What else can happen? Price can temporarily react to this, right? Maybe you go break even, price comes up, and this gets used as liquidity, right? And we come and tap into the extreme, right? And then that fails. That can happen too, right? But ideally, if you're like, if you're well positioned and like this is a good POI, you can effectively either enter the extreme here as kind of a risk entry. If this is the 1 minute, then like it's not really a risk entry. It's kind of your quote unquote confirmation entry because you have this level failing, right? Or if you really want, you can wait to play kind of like the reaction. You wait for our chalk, and then you can try to play the chain kind of like this, right? But here's the thing.
What if you have more?
Sorry.
Yeah, what if you have more than one decisionals in a leg? Like how would you play that?
Yeah, so usually if there are more than one decisional in a leg, it's usually I'm waiting for structure to continue to break, right? So usually it's like we have like multiple levels here, right? As we're coming up,
I was going to say use the chart example that just played out for this one.
Yeah, actually we could do that. You're right.
Because we have it comes back to the Asia like decisional zone.
That's a good point.
So my question with that is why? Oh, you just erased it.
Oh, sorry.
Why would that be considered? So this is the. I'll ask you like this, and then maybe you can help me with. So, as you have the D marked as decisional, right?
Yeah.
Can you explain why that would be decisional? Because in my mind,
because it reacted to demand, and then demand failed and broke structure.
I thought I was looking at that as all one leg though. So when you have to the left, where you have that reaction to demand, and then it pushes up, and then you see supply take over. From where you have extreme down to decisional, down to where the stop loss got hit, wouldn't that be considered all one leg? And then the pullback is up to your extreme and it falls, or are you breaking that one leg down from extreme decisional to stop loss? Is that all one leg, or is it broken down? That's where I'm having an issue with.
Yeah, I'm not sure I fully understand what you mean. Let me delete this for a second, or like move it out of the way, because I don't know if you're talking about this stop loss, but like let's actually like throw orders on it so you understand what we're talking about, and I'll mark them out too, right? So all a decisional is okay, yes, this is one leg, right? But within that leg, you sometimes have this bullish, in a bear scenario, you have this bullish price action, right? Or like buying pressure. That's usually as a result of tapping into some sort of demand that's off to the left, right? And you can have multiple of them like kind of happening too, right? So let me draw it like this, right? So go like that. So this is a level of demand, right?
That's crashed here.
Right? So look, we're usually reacting to a demand. It's pushing up, it's pushing down, right? Whether this is, buy to sell wicks or a single candle.
I can't see anything. I don't see anything moving on my screen. Is
No,
it me?
no, mine's crashed as well. So what's going on here? I can't.
I might have
mine's
paused
crashed.
it. Hold on. How about that?
Yeah,
that's better. Yeah,
Sorry about that. I think I accidentally hit a button there. So okay,
cool.
Again, to illustrate it, right? Usually what it is it's this buying price action within a bearish leg, right? That's telling us that it's really what it is. It's a level of supply that's formed as a result of a reaction to a demand to the left. And then usually we're running that demand out, right? And same thing with this, right? I'm gonna give you a scenario where there's a couple, right? You have one like this, and you have one like this, where this one actually sweeps. Part of the internal reaction here, right? The price is tapping into it, creating a reaction, and sweeping. And then we get a failure of this level here, right? Of demand, right? So this gives us two levels to play off of, and obviously the extreme, which is up here too, right? Which is also, it's the swing point. It's a nice level of supply that's kind of sitting there that really is, I want to say it's really the most valid, in the sense that you're best priced if you're shorting here, and it's probably most likely to hold if we're comparing to the decisional levels, right? The only reason a decisional level holds most of the time, again, obviously we don't know the real reason behind it, but it's usually because of the fact that there's a high momentum in the market. It's going to take too much capital for whatever bank that's manipulating price. Remember, this is the Forex market. It's $1 trillion plus per day market. It's probably even more than that. I can't even put a number on it.
Right? 6 trillion a day.
6 trillion a day. There you go.
Yeah.
It's going to cost them too much money to push price up, right? Against all of this selling pressure, just so that they can get better price, right?
Yeah.
So, what are they going to do instead? Okay, whatever. Let's get a worse price, and then we'll continue price, or sorry, not a worse price, but a little bit of a relatively better price, and then we'll push price down, right? So it's usually prices coming and mitigating a decisional, right?
Mitigating their own orders and then take off, innit?
Yeah.
I have a question.
Sure. What's up?
If there's no sweep at the extreme, would you still place a limit at the extreme?
Yeah, good question. So in any scenario like this, I always have a personal rule. I don't know about the other coaches. I think we pretty much all do have this rule where we won't attack a particular trade idea more than twice, right? The reason why is I want to give myself 2 shots at it. I also have a rule where if I take 3 losses in a day, I'm done, because it means something's off probably. Maybe I didn't sleep well last night. Who knows, right? I don't want to get into like this sort of like mode of over trading and then risk my capital and revenge trade, right? I've done it before, right? So there's a reason I have that rule. It's to limit myself from overexposing to the risk, right? Really, at the end of the day, even if I could recover it, whatever, it doesn't matter. In the long run, I'm gonna end up like hurting myself doing it, right? So it's really a matter of like managing risk. But if we're in a scenario like this and this is high momentum, we're coming off of a really like nice level, usually what I'll do is either I'm gonna play, whatever level decisional, right? And I'm probably gonna leave a limit on the extreme too, because I don't know if these are gonna get used as inducement or liquidity, right? To then fuel the move up to sweep into the extreme, and then we get a continuation off of the extreme, right? So now the other thing is there are certain situations where I'll only play the decisionals too, right? But usually what it is like I prefer leaving like a limit on the extreme because they tend to work, especially if there's a chain like this, right? In this case, the extreme worked, right? Actually, it wasn't even the extreme. It looks like there was like, this one's a little weird because what happened was you had kind of your level of supply here, right? So it's kind of like this, and then price kind of came back into it and then did this, right? So it's kind of the extreme, but also the decisional. We really tapped into this level here, right? This white candle, right? But anyways, my point is when I'm trying to play like multiple decisionals like this, usually what I'll do is if I see prices really starting to shoot down like really fast and we're taking out multiple levels of, supply or whatever, or sorry, demand, right? Imagine there's demand levels here. Sorry, I know it's intersecting with like the chart, right? But just imagine we're blowing through all of this. Usually what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull it off the extreme because it's less likely that price is going to come all the way back up, right? It has to travel too much. It just doesn't make sense for it to do it, right?
When it's gone so far, yeah.
Yeah, as much as we, or as long as we're breaking and like creating new structure in the sense that we're taking out these levels of demand or whatever, I'm going to see any like minor reaction here as liquidity, and I'll look to even play this very aggressive decisional as a continuation, right? Because these tend to work pretty well too, right? Now, in order for me to like up the probability of me taking a zone that's like, pretty good, I'm usually waiting for, again, price to do this, right? To sweep. That's very important. If it's not doing this, I don't like to play it. I don't care if it's one candle, whatever. I'm not interested because I've been burned so many times, right? Now, you will get to a certain point, maybe after years of this, and you know what, I will say like Alb is pretty good at calling out these like little like small flip zone single candle zones that like somehow he can call them with very good accuracy, right? I think it's a matter of skill at the end of the day. If you're able to read price action really well and you understand the pair, right, which is why I suggest creating one pair, then you can play stuff like that, but better be within your plan, right? For me, I get burnt on them. There's a reason I don't play them. I do sometimes see them and I can call them and they end up working out, but I don't like entering them because more often than not, like I get swept out, right? And I find that I just prefer zones that sweep something, right? They have a reaction, they sweep, they go down, they're better probability to me. So, and I have data to back it, right? Like I collect all of the live trades that I do as data, and I take a look at them and see, okay, usually that's what's happening, right? The ones that I've taken a lot of losses on are because I didn't understand what was happening in that particular moment, right? And you never will really have the full picture anyways, right? This is really a game of guessing at the end of the day. You're really guessing what's going to happen, right? You don't know. And if you think you know, like, you have a problem. Like,
yeah.
Right?
You're going to...
Hey, Roberto.
What's up, Michael?
Yeah, I have a question. Because you're talking about only entering trades that sweep liquidity for looking for continuations, but
yeah.
I think it was yesterday or the day before yesterday, you entered a trade that was a continuation, but that small pullback didn't sweep any liquidity.
Yep. I know the exact one you're talking about. So there are instances where I will enter it.
Or something.
Yeah, there are instances where I'll enter it. The reason I entered that one is because it was a scale-in, and I was break even on my first position already. So I just felt like hammering it. Also, it was Thanksgiving. There was not a lot of like movement in the market, right? So, okay, to be fair, maybe I violated and I bent the rules in my plan a little bit.
Yeah.
But I mean, I'll take stuff like that. I do the same thing when I backtest.
Like, and then I see this markup, and I'm like, wait a moment.
Well, here's the thing, right? Like, I try to like preach what I do as much as I can. The reason I'm telling you guys to try and stick to that rule is because, for a lot of you in here who maybe haven't been trading for that long, it's better you stick to that than try to like dive into like aggressive trades like that. It's really to protect you guys from taking losses on stuff like that, right? Like, it's just risky. It's risky. You have to be careful if you're gonna try and take stuff like that, right? But yeah, that's the reason I'm telling you guys, you know, like, don't do it. But I mean, you can, just be careful, right? Maybe do it when you have more experience and you have data that you've collected to like back it, right? That's pretty important. So
you mentioned that if there's high momentum in the market, the likelihood of decisional playing out is higher. So it can liquidity or say indicator or move, some chart, some like method this, or measure of momentum can help us understand that.
This is a good example of that, right? Look, we had a lot of momentum in the market. Did it come back to this? Like, it could, right? But it's very unlikely you're going to see like a huge, 100 pip move one way and then the other, right? Unless it's like news or something, right? So look what happens. It taps into this decisional, right? So that would have been a pretty good short, right?
But
yeah, the price will go there eventually, but later on.
Yeah, is the presence of inducement candle just before the entry zone a kind of sign that price is likely to react to decisional more often?
Sorry, is there a presence of what?
Liquidity candle or inducement candle before we tapped into the zone.
Into this one, yeah, they're
not the one, this one.
Yeah, right here. This got swept, right?
Yeah. So this is textbook inducement.
Yeah.
So does that make it more likely?
And then it's swept. It's used as inducement.
Yeah, so this one actually violated swing structure, right? And that happens sometimes. Like, it's okay.
Yeah, in a pullback, it's a lot liquidity driven. So
yeah.
You also have liquidity sitting like at these levels, right?
Mm-hmm.
Or imagine you were in a short and you're trailing. I always try to tell people that example because it's a good way to think of it, right? Of course, there's liquidity sitting here. If you were short, you're going to trail it, right? If that's the way you manage your trades. This is why I don't trail trades, by the way, because I would just get swept out. Stop losses all the time. I'd rather just hold it open. It's fine, right? Take partials. But let's see if this plays out, right? And by the way, to tell you guys why I would potentially take this. Look, it does sweep. It's very subtle, but like it does do it, right? You kind of sweep up like that, and then price pushes down, right? Now, is it a flip? Yeah, I guess we could argue that it is, right? You had like this level of demand here that held, right? And then it got blown through. So you ran all of the buyers out of the market. That's a bearish signal to me, right? So let's quickly look at the 4 hour. Sorry, I know we kind of went on a bit of a riff with like questions here, but if you guys want, I'll stay on for an extra 15 minutes. I want to backtest this a little bit more and like pull more data. So let's maybe take a break from questions and continue. And tell me how you guys want to approach this market.
Sound.
So
let's continue. I'm fired up.
Yeah. Do you guys want to continue to try to do we want to try to short this now, right? Or do we think this is going to get run? I think this is probably liquidity, if I had to guess, right?
I think we're going to get run.
Yeah, I think so.
Just from your point of view, what is structure on H4? Like your high and your low?
Yeah, good question. 4 hour right now. Let's see, I'd probably say from here to here. Yeah. That's my structure. These are my swing points, right?
Yeah.
Could this get run as liquidity? Yeah, it could.
Yeah. Can we go on the daily a little bit, or
what's that?
But
can we go on the daily a little bit?
Sorry, I didn't catch it. What you're trying to say.
Can we go on the daily?
Oh, the daily. Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Sure.
Please. Just take a quick look.
Yeah, so see, we could pull back probably to this daily wick stream, right? Liquidity there, right? So something to be aware of. So yeah, let's go back on the 15 minute. I think like we could try to play, and this is what I'm talking about, right? Look, see how we're chaining as we pull back, but that chain inevitably ends up becoming like trendline liquidity a lot of the time. So you just got to be careful. It's a little late to try and play a chain on this. I think we could try to short here, but if anything, I would probably try to play this edge, right? Not here, because this is very likely going to get used as liquidity. You had an intraday move here. It was really just like London session, if we're being honest, right? Probably could have taken like a 1 minute here, right? Continuation, whatever. Maybe there's a continuation here, if I had to guess, right? But I don't even really want to like throw this limit on. I think it's going to get run. I want to look for.
We are on the H4 low, so
yeah. But let's see. Like this could hold. Let's just see what happens, right? Or just observe. And again, if you're new at this, like, hindsight it, right? Okay, it's chalked, but it looks pretty weak.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, we're chaining again. So if anything, I would go break even right away, right? Let's just do this in theory, okay? I won't put it into like the stats or whatever, but say you're 2 months into Phantom, you still feel like you're not, you know, you don't really understand it well yet. This is one of those cases where I would, you know, hindsight it, you go break even here, whatever. Now if price comes back up to that level where we entered, then, or we would have entered, then okay, you go break even. Otherwise, where do we want to hit our profit target? Probably at 5R. So I would have liked to even maybe do it earlier, but I want to say let's see if we can hit this, right? Okay, so you'd go break even on that.
Yeah.
Which sucks because look, it ends
interesting.
Up
yeah.
So it's a cool
and I wonder
experiment.
why we start, you know, bullish order flow, we swap the highs, come back into the supply chain, and then run the.
Yeah, it's a
know,
matter of
in
manipulation, right? Look, we got tricked.
I don't like that, but
we got tricked
you know,
into going
happens.
break even, right? That's the funny thing.
Oh, that's a prime example of why I've been looking into Tati's theory a lot, because how she goes is she'll put 2 positions. One of them covers her stop loss, so she doesn't have to actually move it to break even, and she would have stayed in this trade.
Yeah. But wait, but then she sacrifices 1R, right?
Yep.
I've done that before.
Exactly.
Actually, I've done that before. That's not a bad way to do it, honestly. Tati's a very good trader, by the way. Like, if you guys haven't looked at her stuff, like, I like that. I might have to try like doing that again.
I like
his
from
her. Like,
yeah, I like that concept, man. The concept alone, what it does is it takes away your psychology of, oh my God, I gotta go break even. Because it's like, okay, if it went to your break even spot, you've already taken some of your capital off. So if your stop loss is hit, you've already protected your capital, and now you allow your whole trade to actually play out with that same amount of breathing room. That's what really, you know what I mean? It's a very interesting concept.
No, it is. The take partials on the 1-4 and that, it's very good. But if she usually have only 1 TP,
Come back down.
and if you use more than 1 TP, like my case, I use
yeah, you can use it
2
because
TPs.
it's created the low, and then therefore it's used, but it's not over.
If I'm going to do that, it will take me, I will take only 60% of my trades.
Yeah, that's not over.
Full volume.
That's
And
it's
it's
another man chain.
half, or that means that I have to do the double of ours.
I would be
to
careful
get
of
some
this
results.
one. Make sure. Lower that, because that's just a lot of liquidity there. Now equal lows there. Just double equal lows there.
Oh yeah, no, we might get swept. Let's see what happens.
Yeah, we are in a big range right now. So.
I'm trying to play
should come
the
all the way
edges.
down to that extreme demand. Since there's equal lows there, there's liquidity above, there's a peak.
But here's the problem. Look what day it is. It's Christmas Eve.
Yeah.
Oh shit.
I probably wouldn't even be trading. I'd be with my family. I hope you're not on TradingView when you're at the family gathering.
Yeah, I know.
Hey, look, if there's money to be made, I'll give up 2 hours.
Yeah.
Wow, this chain's
Like,
really old.
listen, listen, you little bastards. I put a lot of money in them damn gifts. Wait.
How are you gonna pay for the gifts, right?
Better not do Christmas carols without me. I paid for that eggnog.
Hey Roberto.
What's up?
What do you do when you see change from both sides? Like in this case, you see the supply chain and demand chain, so there's liquidity on both sides basically forming.
It means price is compressing. What's my structure though, on the 4 hour?
Yeah, there's every reason to.
Right. What do I think is gonna break out? Probably.
Bullish.
Probably, yeah, to the bullish side, right? But counterpoint to that, were we tapping into like a higher time frame demand, or sorry, supply, on the weekly and daily? Yeah, probably, right?
Odds are it'll probably go up and then fake come down and go up again.
Yeah. Wait, did this tap me in?
That's usually what it'll do.
Yeah.
Yep.
As you guys can tell, I'm pretty like brain dead and scatterbrained all the time. I'm not really paying attention to what's happening.
Just throw limit and like subconscious limit.
It's weird. Like, I'll tell you guys the challenging part about doing these calls too, right? Everybody has input, right? So it kind of throws me off. When I backtest sometimes, my brain shuts off, and I'm just like, I'm looking at it, and I'm not even really thinking about it. It's like subconscious for me. It's a very hard thing to
pretty
explain.
much, yeah.
Yeah. You can see I'm just marking out zones I think are going to work, whatever. We're in this one. What do I want to target? The hard part for me is now like vocalizing out, you know, like what I'm doing subconsciously to you guys, right? That's always the challenge of doing these backtesting calls. Let's target just like, I don't know, 10R for this. I'm sure there is a 4-hour we can probably target. Let's look to the left of it. It's just so laggy though. You guys see how laggy this is?
Yeah, a lot of data.
You know, let's target this high. Up here. Do it that way. Ethereum is doing something. Sorry about all the alerts, guys. I recently started marking up like crypto stuff. See if I can catch some.
We should be crashing in the market right now.
Is it crashing? I don't know. I don't really look at it that often. If it is, I'm gonna go buy some maybe.
Dude, Bitcoin is tanking right now.
Is it? It's good.
Yeah, it's about to take out this weak low that we had on the daily or on the 4-hour.
Nice. Let's maybe look at it in a second. I'm kind of down. All right, here's a question. Do we want a TP here? Hard TP?
Well, it's the end of the month now. We have 2 days more.
Almost, yeah. So we better TP, probably.
I called this shit 2 days ago. I said, there ain't no way in hell this thing gonna go new highs. I said, everybody said, oh no, you're tripping. We're going to the moon. I said, okay. I said, that's exactly why we going down.
Yeah. On the Bitcoin you talk about?
Yeah, I think he's talking about Bitcoin. I don't think he's talking about EU from a year ago.
Yeah.
No, I'm talking about Bitcoin. Sorry.
Okay, yeah.
That's all good.
Yeah, we can. Yeah, it's a 6R.
6R. Let's TP it, right? So 47.25. There you go. There's my
the end of the year, so most probably will be a range.
Yeah. So we did pretty good. That's a higher strike rate than I normally get. Impressive, right?
It's not that bad.
What, don't you really only need 40% to be profitable so long as you stick to the system?
Oh, dude, you can do 20%.
20%.
You just better have high R when you win.
20% is perfect.
The last call we've made for August, we were around 10 or 11%, and we ended profit.
No,
I'll tell you guys right now. I'll share this. My lowest strike rate live that has been profitable, like actually decently profitable, where I ate for the month, was I think like 22.5% or something. Like it wasn't great, but it didn't matter. I did well, right? And that was over a sample size of I think like 30 trades or whatever. So just to give you guys some perspective, right? It's even lower than 25%. That's the funny thing, and it didn't matter. I still did well. But you got to be there when the good trades hit, right?
Thank you for putting it in
like you will have a bad month. That's the thing, right? So I'm trying to improve my strike rate. Honestly, I do want to make it better.
With those hours that we made now, I would have ended my month in the first trade.
When I first started trading to improve my strike rate, I always went. Maybe you could do this too. What I did was that I focused entirely on continuation trades. I would intentionally miss the move because I wasn't sure when the move was going to happen, and then I would look for breaker structure, multiple breaker structure, at least 2 to 3, and I would look for like that demand chain that you see down there. I would look for something like that, and then I would look for like a continuation trade because I know that that's like an 80% success rate. In terms of those working. And then the second thing I would do is I would identify my market structure, and then I would mark out my strong highs and my strong lows, and then I would look for strong lows to be swept, and then I would take a trade. So I did those 2 things, and that really helped my strike rate.
Yeah, that's pretty good. I'll have to give that a try. All right, the thing for me that I find is if I don't chase a trade sometimes, it's weird. It's weird with me personally when I trade live because I almost have to hit when I want to. If I'm like overly conservative, I end up just taking losses. So that's the reason I'm like so aggressive and I like to chase trades, right? But So a lot of the time, like things like this, they'll end up expiring for me, right? Like if I try to like long this, and you'll see me marking out like decisionals like this, right? Look, this one got tapped into. We could have longed that too, right? Granted, it was like late in the day. What is this, like 1:15, right? But yeah, I mean, here's the thing. It boils down to the person, right? I'm sure there's a lot of you that maybe have like, I saw like a lot of you guys back tested this, and you guys had really good strike rates and 90 hours. So like, good job. You guys outperformed me. Again, it's not about ego, right? Like I'm fully aware that there's probably people in this call even that are better traders than me, right? But whatever, we're all learning, right? At the end of the day. So
yeah,
I appreciate you guys, participating in it because it's fun, right? We all learn from it. Maybe what we'll do. What do you guys want to backtest next? Does anybody have like the lowest premium plan of TradingView? Can you tell me how far you can go back on the 15-minute?
Yeah, I'm actually backtesting structure on 15 minutes based on H4, and I can go back to, I think right now it's like 12th of March 2019.
Okay, so let's do maybe April and then May or something, right? That would probably work.
But I can go on March, but on the 15 minutes you can go back on the October, but the bar replay on October doesn't work. I don't know if you know what I mean.
Oh, you can only go as far as October on
what March,
do you have?
But the 15-minute data you can go on October.
Oh, okay, that's good to know. So you can only do
something
a month
like that.
on 15, eh?
So no, March, not March 2019, March 2020.
Oh, okay. Oh,
yeah, and October
all right.
19, you're like can go back on the.
Okay, I got it.
The bar replay, but you see it.
I got it. Okay. Yeah, so maybe we'll do like April then. If anything, we'll push it. What, Oliver? Out of curiosity, which package do you have? You have the lowest one, the one where you can only have like 2 split screens or whatever. I forget the name of it.
Yeah, on the lower one.
It's the Pro.
It's just Pro, right? Yeah. Okay. Cool.
Yeah.
Cool. Okay. Cool. So we'll do that from now on, so everybody can participate. What's that, Miguel?
There's Pro Plus, and Premium.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm on the Pro.
There you go. Like I said, I want to downgrade to it because the only thing is, the reason I did Premium is because I want to have the alerts for like other stuff, like crypto and stuff. But I'm telling you guys, you do not need Premium. I don't even look at the 1 minute anymore. Like I really don't. I probably looked at it once last week, and even then
I don't know how you guys feel about it.
Yep.
I don't know how you guys feel about it or not, but I have Premium and I just pay this guy $5 a month for Premium. I just got to give him the $5 every month, but it's only $60 a year, and you have Premium, and it's no TradingView you can get for $60 a month that I saw.
Yeah.
I mean $60 a year, excuse me. So I just give him $5. He sends it to me, and I have Premium on 4 devices.
Wow, that's pretty good.
And I mean, it's been working for the last couple months, so I'm gonna keep giving them the $5. I don't know if you guys.
You're sharing the account, though. I'm guessing, right? Something like that.
No, what he does is, and I saw what he does. He has some way to give you a trial, a 30-day trial of Premium, and he just keeps giving you a 30-day trial of Premium for $5.
Okay. Yeah, I think I've heard of that. The only thing is, I guess you lose your settings every month, right? Or no?
Yeah, I don't care about
on Black Friday, it's $280 something for 13 months. So it's for now.
That's what I did. I just did that. Sorry, I don't know if
I've got it till like March 24 now. So I bought it over at last 2, and it just goes on top of what you have done it. So every Black Friday, just buy it for 13 months again.
Yeah. Sorry, I don't know if I misspoke earlier, and I said I didn't go on the win. I meant the seconds time frame. I haven't gone on the seconds time frame in like.
Yeah, you misspoke because I was thinking you were only on the.
No. I'm always on the 1 minute. I'm always looking at the 1 minute.
Okay, it's good.
Yeah. Okay, cool. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed this backtesting call. I hope you guys have a fantastic weekend. Thanks for joining me today.
Hey, great. Cheers, Rob.
Thanks to you, Rob.
Guys. I will assign homework. I will upload this for you guys so you can watch it over the weekend, whatever. But have a great weekend, everyone.
No, nice one. Cheers, Rob.
You as well. Thank you, guys.
Cheers,
Bye.
man.
Thank you, Rob. Thank you.
Cheers. Bye.
Later.
Bye.